parrot from just $99. Look for the big red koala.
Emergency crews say it's amazing no one was seriously hurt in a two-bus crash at Paradise. It happened on Darley Road yesterday afternoon. The impact of one Adelaide Metro bus T-boning another resulted in windows shattering and spraying passengers with glass. Declan Dwyer from the MFS says several people had to be freed from the wreckage.
Our crews did remove the centre door of the bus that had been hit on the side, just to gain to improve the access for SA ambulance and then also for casualties to start making their way off the bus.
A total of 6 were taken to hospital. A police investigation has been launched into the crash. Economists are flagging a potential cut to interest rates this year if quarterly inflation figures decline by more than expected. Some believe the unemployment rate will gradually lift, placing pressure on the Reserve Bank to lower the official cash rate. For now, it remains steady on 3.9%. A new survey has found the majority of hybrid workers would resign from their job if forced to return to the office 5 days a week. 70% of respondents also say working from home has helped them navigate cost of living pressures. International Workplace Group Country Head for Australia, Damien Sheehan, says people have grown accustomed to the habit.
And it talks to a wide set of data: productivity, financial, physical and mental well-being, and of course that daily commute, which everyone continues to hate 5 days a week and really just don't want to go back to that.
A report by the US Justice Department found the police response to the deadly Uvalde school shooting in 2022 was a failure, and officials acted with no urgency. It took more than an hour for police to confront the gunman after entering the building. 19 students and 2 staff members were killed. Kimberly Matarubio's 10-year-old daughter Lexi was among them.
I hope that the failures end today and that local officials do what wasn't done that day, do right by the victims and survivors of Robb Elementary.
Australians could soon be forking out as much as $15 for a pint of beer. The alcohol tax is expected to rise again next month. Spirits are forecast to cost around $100 a litre. There's been a rise in the number of young women with cancer of the tongue. As Gabriel Hodson reports, many have never smoked.
Tongue cancer rates are rising by about 4% a year in women under 45 and rising at a smaller rate in young men, but researchers at the University of Melbourne have no idea why. Booze and cigarettes have traditionally caused about 3/4 of all oral cancers, a socially isolating illness that can affect the ability to speak. The Sydney Morning Herald says almost 1,100 people in Australia were treated for tongue cancer in 2019, and that's predicted to reach well over 1,300 this year. Medical bodies are now teaching GPs and Victorian dentists how to detect the illness, which often begins as a mouth ulcer that just won't go away.
And Winston Churchill's false teeth are going under the hammer in the UK. The former British Prime Minister's gold-plated upper dentures are expected to fetch around $10,000. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Drive away with a great deal at Agostino Mitsubishi Nailsworth and the brand new Agostino Mitsubishi Mawson Lakes.
Here's Tom Rennie.
Thank you, Kendall. The Socceroos have won their Asian Cup clash against Syria in Qatar 1-0. The result means they've won through to the knockout stages of the tournament. Jackson Irvine with the only goal in the 59th minute. To cricket, in South Aussie, Travis Head has smashed his 7th Test century as the Aussies took command of the first Test against the West Indies at Adelaide Oval. Head top scored with 119 as the home side was dismissed for 283, giving them a lead of only 95 runs. But the tourists limped to 6 for 73, meaning they're still 22 runs behind. Meantime, the Big Bash finals will begin tonight with the Brisbane Heat hosting the Sydney Sixers for a spot in the grand final. Well, it's been a very late night in the tennis with Daniil Medvedev defeating Emil Ruusuvuori in 5 sets, the match ending after 3:30 Melbourne time this morning. Earlier, Jelena Ostapenko defeated Australian Isla Tomljanovic 6-love, 3-6, 6-4. And Thanasi Kokkinakis is also out of the Oz Open after a tough 4-set battle with Bulgarian Grigor Dimitrov.
Yeah, it was tough. He's playing incredible tennis at the moment. You know, he was a better player for sure for the first 2 sets. The first set was probably closer than 6-3. Had a lot of break points to kind of make it a real contest. But yeah, he was playing great. I felt like I couldn't get the ball past.
And Sam Welsford has made it 2-stage wins in 3 days at the Tour Down Under after taking out yesterday's stage. Mexican Isaac Del Toro has retained the overall leader's ochre jersey. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Jayco Adelaide's factory sale has a van for every budget, with savings up to $3,000. Hurry ends Saturday.
Sunny and 29 today, Saturday up to 35, cloud clearing on Sunday 28 and 32 for Monday. At the moment 10. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Get saving this month at City Discount Tyres. When you buy 3 Wild Peak AT3W all-terrain tyres, you'll get the 4th tyre free. The perfect tyre for your next adventure. City Discount Tyres are a proud multi-tyre and wheel brand retailer offering great service at great prices. Visit citydiscounttyres.com.au to find your nearest store. City Discount Tyres. We're driven by value.
City Discount Tyres. There's nothing quite like a sports card World Trade Day. The anticipation in the air every time you hear this. The rush of finally seeing that card you've been hunting for years. The exciting guest appearances. New cards, rare cards, NBA, AFL, soccer, Pokemon, and so much more. You never know what'll show up. So don't miss the Sports Card World Trade Day. This weekend in Regent Arcade, Rundle Mall. Search Sports Card World for details.
Adelaide has just been voted one of the world's most desirable places to be. And Holiday Wonders is celebrating with a range of incredible new holidays, including first-class day trip experiences, one of which is a new wild Africa safari at Monado. The experience includes a journey on board Monado's new safari truck into the hippo habitat, where you'll find Brindabella and Pansy strolling about the uncharted 65 hectares of the Etosha Wild Africa precinct. Enjoy a bush morning tea surrounded by animals, and later a great cafe lunch. Other new Gold Class day outings this summer include amazing Coorong cruises, Lost in the Hills and Cruising the Murray tours, plus, of course, famous winery and hotel lunches. Visit the Holiday Wonders website for more amazing new season Gold Class day tours, holidaywonders.com.au.
Jarvis Toyota has moved to their brand new home in Brighton Road, Somerton Park. So now is the time to take advantage of opening savings across the entire Hilux range, including the Hilux GR Sport. Hilux, the unbreakable connection since 1968, will be stronger than ever with the first ever Hilux GR Sport, inspired with Dakar DNA, available now and boasting more power and torque. Jarvis Toyota, now at Brighton Road, Somerton Park, proudly celebrating 22 years of great deals.
Over 70 years, Meals on Wheels have delivered millions of meals. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
5AA Summer Breakfast with Will Goodings and Premier Peter Malinauskas.
Oh, well, the voiceover stole my thunder. I was going to build up dramatically, but yes, if you're watching along on the Foodland Supermarket Facebook and YouTube live stream, you'll note we've gone to the top this morning. As far as co-hosts go, David Penberthy back on Monday, and filling his chair this morning is the Premier of the state, Peter Malinauskas. Premier, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will.
Am I have to be formal all morning with Premier?
No, you'd please. I feel more comfortable if you called me something informal.
Okay.
Not that I'm feeling particularly comfortable at all at the moment, to be honest.
Well, it's good to have you in. Big program ahead this morning. We'll be off to Unley. We'll chat with Michael Hewitson, the mayor there, about the return of the Unley Gala after 4 years for the stage of the Tour Down Under. Looking forward to that chat. We're off to the US, David Woiwod for 7 News. With the latest on the Republican primary season, it's rolled on, and so too has Donald Trump. Good news for former 36er star Josh Giddey, who's been cleared of charges of an underage relationship. We'll get the details on that a little bit later in the morning. Luke Flesher from Allied, accompanying the Premier, conducted a press conference with yesterday. Terrific local story. They've been chosen by Google to make laptops locally, manufacturing things here in Adelaide. Who knew? And one thing we're going to do that's going to be a lot of fun is, well, for us, is the Ask the Premier segment. You aware of this, Premier? Did we word you up about this? I can't recall.
Someone mentioned to me earlier this morning.
What we want to do, as is always our commitment on 5AA Breakfast, to give you access to people that make decisions in the state and around the country. After 8 o'clock, if you've got a question for the Premier on any subject whatsoever, you can call in and ask it. You can register your interest over the course of the morning. Sam and Emily are happy to take your calls. 8223 0000 is the number. You've been in this studio, I think, outside of David and I, probably as much as just about anyone, I thought. It doesn't feel comfortable coming in.
No, it's a completely different experience. Normally you're in and out in 15 minutes. You know you're going to get a bit of chin music and you sort of prepare for it. But this is a marathon more than more than a sprint. So, but more than happy to make myself available, and hopefully it's not too painful for your listeners suffering a politician on radio for a couple of hours. But no, look, you're always just a bit out of the comfort zone this morning, sitting here for a few hours.
Well, it's funny you say that because you've been stitched up by your office for Meat Tray Friday. Now, usually we have to sit around and come up with ideas for the meat tray question, but some of your staff thought this would be pretty funny. The meat tray, thanks to Liam Jonah and the team, My Local Butcher, Chanella's 62 Prospect Road at Prospect, asking you folks, when have you ever felt completely out of your depth? When have you ever felt completely... I don't know what they're saying about you.
Well, now's a pretty good start to be for me, Will. No, look, but they wanted to stitch me up. They said, oh, look, the FIVEAA want you in. I was like, I'm not too sure if people are going to want to listen to me for a couple of hours, but a bit out of the depth this morning, but hopefully get a bit more comfortable as the morning goes on.
8223 is the number if you'd like to enter and win the meat tray. Tell us when you felt totally out of your depth, what you've been doing. You can text us 2104808 1395. We got some texts in, and I think this is a good entry point to what's the biggest conversation topic in South Australia this morning. Our nearest to the pin competition we ran earlier in the week, people try to predict when the Test cricket would end. And it turns out I didn't have them pegged for this, but our listeners are wide-eyed optimists, because the earliest entry we had was Paul from Modbury Heights, who said today at 2:30. There is no way this Test is getting to 2:30 today.
It'd be amazing if it did.
It would be amazing if it did. That's the closest. Then there's a cluster.
So what, everyone else thought it was going to the weekend?
Everyone else thought it was... Well, no, there's a few after that today, but the largest number was sort of early Saturday, mid-Saturday. There was only 2 entries for Sunday. But right now, Paul in Modbury Heights is in the box seat for our competition. This has been an absolute farce, hasn't it? 2 days of... I mean, it was predictable against a minnow nation, but then you started on a Wednesday?
So there's a whole suite of debutantes in the side. I don't know the last time West Indies run a series of cricket. I can't recall the last time they beat us. Must have been a long time ago at any Test. So it was odds on to not go for a long time, which is why I was a bit, and I am a bit filthy on Cricket Australia starting the Test on a Wednesday. What possible justification is there for that? There must be some perplexing reason to do with scheduling or something, but I don't think anything can justify starting a Test match on a Wednesday against a second-rate nation that we've played 2 years in a row. And the people who I feel for, Will, I was sort of thinking about this last night. Think about all those city traders that would have been geared up for a busy weekend that's now just not going to come through. Like, thinking about the Queen's Head, the Wellington, the Strathmore, all those places in town, all the restaurants, and it's all going to fall flat for them.
And as you see, the most infuriating component of the whole thing is it was totally foreseeable.
Absolutely.
Totally foreseeable. I mean, I still don't understand why we get lumped with the same opponent 2 years in a row.
Either do I. I raised it with them, with Cricket Australia, because we far and above every other jurisdiction. I shouldn't say jurisdiction. Every other city around the country. We have more people turn up to Test match on a per capita basis than anybody. We leave Melbourne in their wake. I think the per capita equivalent for a first day Test that we had for our size crowd was 96,000. They've only had 90,000 at Boxing Day once in the history of the Boxing Day Test.
It's ludicrous.
So we punch above our weight, yet we get treated in the way that we have been. It just reeks of Cricket Australia taking us for granted.
Completely. We got some feedback coming in on the text line and indeed the Food Lad Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream. Michelle on the live stream says, "Hooray! We've got a Port supporter in today."
Absolutely.
Yeah, actually, how did we usually have a pretty rigorous vetting system that goes through.
Absolutely. I didn't actually think of this.
Oh, this is because Sam Daddo is producing today. So there's sort of this weird Alberton takeover that's gone on.
I hadn't actually contemplated that. It's the wrong time of the year, though.
Yeah, no, we had contemplated it.
everyone's an optimist at this time of the year. Port's looking good, so are the Crows.
No one's lost a game.
No,
it is a great time of year to be a football fan, that's for sure. Rob says we're going to need to make sure the Premier's not wearing the budgie smugglers under the desk. No, I've seen him walk in. There's no danger of that.
The passing of someone close.
Someone's hit something in the next studio. Come on, Matt.
That wasn't me.
That's Matt Pantelis. Matt Pantelis is getting in early. That's right, getting busy.
So I've worked out why Pembo sits over here on this seat, because you do all the buttons.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I do the buttons.
No wonder it works so smoothly.
And he just thinks up compelling stories and
about Mexico.
Oh next week is going to be unbelievable.
Yep.
I don't know how we're going to make 6:30 on time. It's going to be a real issue. Wally the Walnut on the nearest to the pin competition says, can I change my cricket time? I'd say 11:50 now, not 2:50. Well batted Travis Head. Good innings at home. Great that Travis Head
Amazing.
got a ton.
But
That was a silver lining, I guess.
It almost made me angrier.
Yeah.
Because Travis Head should have had the privilege of being able to play on a Saturday or a Sunday in front of a packed house at Adelaide Oval. Like, if the test had started on Friday, which would have made, you would have said, oh, that makes sense, then Travis Head would have been playing on a Saturday in front of a huge crowd at Adelaide Oval hitting a ton.
Would have been one of those great old-fashioned test cricket days too, where word of mouth, people that weren't going to
pile
go,
in.
that's right, people go, we should get down there, he's on 48.
Absolutely.
We'll get down there if he makes a ton, it's going to be great. 8223 is the number. You can text us too on 0448 08 1395. When have you felt completely out of your depth? If you can answer that question, we've got a meat tray potentially for you by 9 o'clock. News headlines are next.
The passing of someone close places unique stress on family and friends. At this time, Farrell and O'Neill Funerals are here to provide reassurance and peace of mind. Farrell and O'Neill offer creative guidance and advice to tailor a service that best honours your loved one. Whether a large gathering or a small, intimate service, Farrell and O'Neill share their generations of experience in tailoring a unique and meaningful farewell. Proudly SA family-owned and operated, because it's personal.
As the Santos Tour Down Under makes its way through South Australia, we'll have the world's greatest cycling superstars riding through our suburbs, our streets, our front yards. So get out there and welcome them down under. To be there for Australia's greatest cycling race, check out the race routes at tourdownunder.com.au. The Santos Tour Down Under, January 12 to 21, coming to a suburb, street and front yard near you.
Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is a contagious virus causing respiratory illness in older adults and death among the frail elderly. While vaccines to fight the disease have been approved overseas, Fusion Clinical Research is holding a trial in Adelaide to find a remedy for Australia. If you're between 60 and 85 and interested in participating, go to fusiontrials.com.au. You'll be reimbursed for your time helping Australia's elderly into the future. That's fusiontrials.com.au.
Looking for a restaurant to share a brilliant international taste experience? You simply must try the all-new Tunki at West Lakes. Fusing Japanese flavours with Peruvian ingredients, Chef Krish Dutt invites you to share in this Nikkei experience at the wonderful new local restaurant Tunki. With a careful fusion of Japanese and Peruvian flavours, your taste buds will set flight with a spectacular marinara dance when you experience Tunki. Book your table now at tunki.au and be part of the sensation. Tunki, where fusion meets perfection. 141 Brebner Drive, West Lakes.
Is your bloated belly making you feel fat and miserable? Introducing new Caruso's Bloaties. Caruso's Bloaties contains peppermint and ginger, which are traditionally used in Western herbal medicine to relieve belly bloating, plus digestive enzymes to help your body digest lactose and fat. So if you're fed up with your bloated belly making you feel fat and miserable, try Caruso's Bloaties today. Caruso's Bloaties is available from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Over 70 years, Meals on Wheels have delivered millions of meals. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
5AA Summer Breakfast with Will Goodings and Premier Peter Malinauskas.
18 after 6. His office stitched him up with the Meat Tray Friday question. When have you ever felt completely out of your depth? Sally in Hillcrest has called in. Morning to you, Sally.
Morning, how are you?
Well, Sally.
Mine was back in 2001. Red Cross had just changed their blood donation rules, and I was the first person under 18 in SA.
Wow.
And as part of that, I had to go but they did all the paper and TV and everything. But we had to go to a conference, and I had to get up in front of the thousands that were there and present Governor Eric Neal's wife, with flowers and thank her for everything she did for Red Cross. So as a 17-year-old, that was very frightening.
Well done.
What a great experience, though, Sally. You carried out your duties okay? Nothing went bad, did it?
No, nothing went bad. It was just totally out of my depth and not something I had ever envisioned doing.
Did you get a thrill out of it at the end of it?
I did at the end of it, yeah.
Yeah, and you got a great story now, and also you got a Meat Tray Friday entry. Good on you, Sally. Thank you. 20 minutes after 6, 8223 the number. Keep them coming in. Let's jump into the news headlines on this Friday, the 19th of January. Police are appealing to anyone who saw this yesterday afternoon's bus crash at Paradise to contact Crime Stoppers. 2 buses collided just after 4 p.m. This is extraordinary, the images of this. Half a dozen people were taken to hospital. Emergency crews needed to free some people who became trapped by the doors. Thankfully, no one was seriously hurt. And as I understand it, one of the great, if you can say that, the positives out of it was the crash happened just outside the MFS. So there were emergency services literally
pouring all over it.
They were all over the place, which perhaps mitigated the worst of the damage. Australian military bases could soon be used as testing sites for Japanese missiles. The Fin Review reporting officials from both countries are in talks, which could see the nation become part of Japan's missile development program. The Defence Department has confirmed a collaboration is already underway on long-range guided weapons and integrated air and missile defence. There's a bit in the not necessarily this, but the missile defence industry for South Australia, is there not? Because
big opportunities.
There's things happening.
So there's AUKUS Pillar 1, which gets all the attention.
Yeah.
The submarine program, but AUKUS Pillar 2 is all around that cyber opportunity, but also missile defence. And we got presence of companies that are doing a lot of technological research in this area. The DSTO out in Edinburgh. DSTG Group, they're doing amazing work in terms of the research there, and there's a big opportunity that we can't sort of lose sight of because we've got so much focus on the submarines.
Retailers are crying out for resolution to the ongoing industrial dispute between Stevedore DP World and the Maritime Union. There's said to be a 2 to 8 week backlog in shipments, while 48,000 shipping containers sit idling nationwide. Australia and Retailers Association CEO Paul Zara says the enterprise bargaining issues are now affecting retailers.
Reported delays and significant out-of-stocks, and they remain concerned around the potential impact on pricing, further adding to the cost of living crunch.
Crown Plaza is heading north with a luxury hotel at Mawson Lakes. What was originally going to be a Holiday Inn at the corner of Eldersmith Road and Main Street has now been rebranded. It's set to open late this year. How many hotels do we have in Adelaide these days? The development over the course of the last 15 years feels pretty remarkable.
And there's a few more coming. There's a few more coming, which is a good thing. We need more of them. The one on North Terrace is pretty exciting. I don't know if you've seen...
Yeah, that looks good. A new survey's found the majority of hybrid workers would resign from their job if forced to return to the office 5 days a week. 70% of respondents also say working from home has helped them navigate cost of living pressures. International Workplace Group Country Head for Australia, Damien Sheehan, says people have grown accustomed to the habit.
And it talks to a wide set of data: productivity, financial, physical and mental well-being, and of course that daily commute, which everyone continues to hate 5 days a week and really just don't want to go back to that.
You old-fashioned when it comes to work from home?
Yeah, I personally don't like working from home.
Yeah.
It's just so distracting if you've got young kids around the place. It's hard to...
You've got 4 of them now.
Yeah. I find it really hard, and I worry about the next younger workers learning from their colleagues. I think there must be a generation of people missing out the opportunity to learn, because you learn as much around the water cooler as you do around the desk, chatting to people. And I don't know how this plays out in the long term. I think there's a bit of water to go under this bridge yet. And I think, at the moment, we've got such a tight labour market, but if that starts to change at some point in the future in a way that, I don't think we should aspire to, but if that happens, I wonder if there'll be a few employers out there that start saying, you're back in.
Well, I often wonder that. I mean, it's sort of couched always as a sort of new age philosophy on the workplace. But how much is it, where historically with a tight labour market, you'd see wages go up. And wages are kind of fairly flat. I mean, we've had a bit of improvement actually recently. But over the longer period, are we seeing improvements to working conditions, like flexible working hours and working from home, in lieu of what wage rises?
I think there is a lot of evidence of that, in a way that arguably is a good thing.
Yeah.
But clearly the workforce is changing in a way that is positive, as we've seen increasingly more and more women not just work part-time, but also go from part-time status to full-time status. And, you look at things through the prism of your own experience. I know, like Annabelle does work my wife works a day a week at home, and that makes a big difference for her. And she does that often late at night when the kids are in bed. So that flexibility does make a big difference. But it depends on your job too.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you're in a professional setting where you've got the liberty to do that, that's one thing. But for a lot of people, they just don't have that option. They're in a small business. It's customer facing. You can't just shut the front door of your restaurant or cafe for a day.
Call me, I'm on the couch.
Exactly.
Yeah. 29 the expected top today. It was a cool start this morning. It's just 10 degrees outside at the moment. It's 35 tomorrow. Nice and warm for Saturday. Unfortunately, we won't be seeing any cricket. Sunday, 28, 32 on Monday, 36 on Tuesday, 37 on Wednesday, and 29 on Thursday. Tom Rennie has just wandered into the studio. Get immediate delivery on Mitsubishi Triton from Agostina Mitsubishi Nailsworth and their brand new dealership at Mawson Lakes. I mean, what a privilege for me to have the architects of the Live Golf in the studio together this morning. Good morning to you, Rennie.
I think I was just cheerleader. I think the Premier did all the work.
Rennie knew all about it early. He knew the opportunity.
Good morning to you, Premier. Great to have you in the studio, and Will as well. Well, let's start with the cricket because it has been a hot talking point. On the field, we'll start with the good, and that's Travis Head, his 7th Test 100. He'd had a bit of a lean summer with the bat, but came good yesterday, didn't he?
Just on time to do it in front of the home crowd.
Yeah. In a low-scoring Test match, this is how he did it. Audio thanks to Seven.
The sweet feeling at Hometown 100. Adelaide Oval rises to Travis Head, who is head and shoulders above the rest, with no one else in the side passing 45.
And that's the way it stayed. They only made 283, but it looks like a 95-run lead might be enough for them to even win by an innings. I mean, it's pretty extraordinary, but
I think we'll bat again.
I hope so. I hope so. You hope the Windies dig in for an hour and a half and get 30 or 40 in front.
Yeah.
Maybe 50 to, give the people that go down there today a bit of time to have a couple of beers.
I thought that given we were playing West Indies, the pitch would be an absolute road, and that that would be we'd see a high-scoring affair, or when we came in, we may plug out a big innings, but not to be.
Well, how often? I think we were saying this the other day, Rennie. How often have you won the toss at Adelaide Oval and sent the other side in?
So apparently, I wasn't there, obviously, but I got told that there was an audible groan across
really?
the crowd when we sent them in. Yeah.
So, this isn't going to make the weekend.
Well, what? Couldn't they have just batted first?
No, make 400 and, just dig in. But look, Trav, fantastic for him. Shamar Joseph's the other really good story from the West Indies.
What a character.
Pretty good debut.
Bowling with oranges up until about 2 or 3 years ago, from a village. Yeah. Amazing story. So,
God, I do, and maybe this is just a product of the era that I grew up when I was completely obsessed by cricket, but I do long for the West Indies being a powerhouse side again.
Absolutely.
They've got a different character to the way they go about things.
Mm-hmm.
And the game would be a lot better for it.
They're just so charismatic, and we all grew up with Viv Richards and Curly Ambrose and Courtney Walsh and Malcolm Marshall and Clive Lloyd and Joel Gunner. They were just Richard Richardson with that beautiful white brimmed hat. Didn't bat with a helmet. They were magical days.
That 1992 Test is still probably the most tragic sporting moment that I personally bore witness to.
Mm-hmm. I was at
outside of the 07 Grand Final.
Yeah. McDermott.
Mum ripped me out of school and I went down for the last couple of hours. And it was heartbreaking, wasn't it?
Tim May got 5 for 9 in that Test
That's right, yeah. And batted well too.
He did.
He batted really well. He was at the other end, I think, when we lost.
Right, yeah.
It's important to get your sports scars early, I think.
Yeah.
Like you need
that was a scar.
You need some real tragedies early days to toughen you up.
Dad wanted to leave that day early.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was done. Oh, we're toast. It's all over. It's finished. And he didn't want to stick around for the last wicket. I made him stay, and then progressively it became one of the closest test match history.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
and there's still cartilage on that scar, isn't there? That was a nasty one. But you're right. It would be great to see the Windies, get back to those amazing days. They're a fair way away, unfortunately. Just in terms of other sport, the Tour Down Under rolls on. Sam Welsford again yesterday, taking out stage 3, so that's 2 in 3. And the Socceroos, you probably got up.
No, I actually no. I softed it out last night, Rennie.
You're saving it for the knockout stages.
Exactly.
They're through to that now.
Yep.
They're not doing it really amazingly well at the moment.
From what I've been able to glean, it followed a familiar pattern of the India game and indeed the Bahrain friendly that led into the Asia Cup, which is it's been grim viewing. They get the result, but geez, you don't feel better having watched it.
No, and Jackson Irvine on the score sheet again, but 1-0 against Syria, and they had some moments the other way, Syria, where they could have easily scored, so work to be done there.
Yeah, well, they're not peaking early, let's say that.
I'll tell you who's not peaking early, they're peaking late. At the tennis, Daniil Medvedev finished his match about 3 hours ago.
Wow.
So
when's he due back? When would he be due back?
Well, he'll have today off, but he'll be back on tomorrow. And knowing Daniil, he'll be outspoken about that. He will not be happy. Came from 2 sets to love down. Thanasi lost. There was some... I don't know if you saw it, but Alina Rybakina played a tiebreaker last night, 22 points to 20 in the deciding set.
Oh, that's brutal.
She had 6 match points herself, saved 9 the other way. It was incredible viewing. It was really, really
That's
good.
epic. That's good stuff.
That was really good stuff. But a lot of matches, unfortunately, pushed later and later, which meant Daniil had to wait, and that's not going to make Daniil happy.
More than almost any other sport, you can get your value for money out of a ticket to the tennis, can't you?
Well, the thing is, there's no time clock.
That's right. So who knows?
It can just drag and drag.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's great, but sometimes it can be, come on, guys, let's get this going. Or girls, this is going long.
Magnificent work, Rennie.
Good on you. Thanks so much. Thanks, Premier.
Drive away with a great deal at Agostino Mitsubishi Nailsworth and the brand new Agostino Mitsubishi Mawson Lakes.
This is Adelaide's FIVEAA.
Sunny and 29 with the 6:30 news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
From chips to replacements, make Complete Windscreens your insurer repairer of choice. CompleteWindscreens.com.au.
The Middle East is on edge as nuclear-armed Pakistan launches airstrikes on Iranian military targets. More from Alison Petrowski.
Pakistan says they were targeting terrorist hideouts in the southeast of Iran, killing at least 9 people, including women and children. It is the first external land attack on Iran since Saddam Hussein's forces invaded in the 1980s, which started a vicious 8-year war. Here's Pakistan's foreign ministry.
This morning's action was taken in light of credible intelligence of impending large-scale terrorist activities against Pakistan by these terrorists.
The attacks were in retaliation to missile and drone strikes that Iran launched on Pakistan 24 hours earlier. Meantime, for the 4th time in a week, the US has struck Houthi military targets in Yemen as the war now extends far beyond the borders of Gaza and Israel.
Australian military bases could soon be used as testing sites for Japanese missiles. Officials from both countries are in talks, which could see the nation become part of Japan's missile development program. The Defence Department's confirmed a collaboration's already underway on long-range guided weapons and integrated air and missile defence. Police are investigating how 2 buses ended up making contact at Paradise yesterday, leaving 6 people in hospital. One Adelaide Metro bus T-boned another on Darley Road just after 4. Emergency crews removed a central door on one of the buses to free the passengers. There was also a lot of broken glass, windows smashed due to the impact. No one was seriously injured. Both bus drivers were breath tested on the scene. Retailers are crying out for a resolution to the ongoing industrial dispute between Stevedore DP World and the Maritime Union. There is said to be a 2 to 8 week backlog in shipments, while 48,000 shipping containers sit idle nationwide. Australian Retailers Association Chief Paul Zara says the enterprise bargaining issues are now affecting retailers.
Retailers across the board have reported delays and significant out-of-stocks, and they remain concerned around the potential impact on pricing, further adding to the cost of living crunch.
Australia's alcohol tax is expected to rise again next month. Beer drinkers could pay more than $15 a pint, while spirits are expected to climb higher than $100 a litre. The federal government's facing pressure from distilleries, which are considering moving overseas to dodge the hike. Authorities in the US have identified cascading failures in the police response to the deadly school shooting in Uvalde, Texas in 2022. It took 77 minutes for any of the hundreds of responding officers to confront the shooter, who killed 19 children and 2 teachers and wounded 17 others. US Attorney General Merrick Garland says the chaos continued after the immediate threat had passed.
Surviving victims, some with bullet wounds and other injuries, were put on buses without being brought to the attention of medics. Some families were told that their family members had survived when they had not.
The $100 million Powerball didn't go off last night, jackpotting to $150 million next Thursday. Spokesman Matt Hart says there's one way you can improve your chances.
There were 20 Powerball Division 1 winners last year, and more than half of those were delivered by a type of entry called a power hit, and that guarantees this Powerball number that you need to win Division 1. So to put that into context, last night there were 15 Division 2 winners, and they each got $132,000, but they were one number off.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Get immediate delivery on Mitsubishi Triton from Agostino Mitsubishi Nailsworth and their brand new dealership at Mawson Lakes.
Here's Tom Rennie.
Thank you, Kendall. Let's start with some cricket, and Australia's on the verge of a win against the West Indies here at Adelaide Oval. The Aussies made 283, South Aussie Travis Head top scoring, with a brilliant century, making 119. That gave them a lead of 95 runs after being rolled for 283. The visitors 6 for 73 at stumps. Josh Hazlewood with another 4 wickets. Well, a marathon night of tennis at the Australian Open ending at 3:39 a.m. local time. Daniil Medvedev beating Emil Rusevore in 5 sets, the match going 4 hours and 23 minutes. He says he was surprised many in the crowd stuck around.
What is it, like 3:40 in the morning?
It's late.
I honestly, guys, I would not be here. Thanks for staying. If I would be a tennis fan and I would come, I would be at 1, I would be like, okay, let's go home. We're going to catch the end of the match on the TV.
Audio there thanks to 9. Isla Tomljanovic lost her singles match. Thanasi Kokkinakis also going down in 4 sets to 13th seed Grigor Dimitrov. Well, the Socceroos have booked their place in the round of 16 at the Asian Cup with a 1-0 win against Syria. Jackson Irvine with the only goal of the game in the 59th minute.
Hard-fought win today. Boys had to dig in at times, and against a team that threw everything at us at the end of the game. And I'm pleased with the win.
Audio there thanks to 10. And Sam Welsford has won stage 3 of the Tour Down Under. Mexican Isaac Del Toro retains the ochre jersey. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Jayco Adelaide's factory sale has a van for every budget, with savings up to $3,000. Hurry, ends Saturday.
Sunny and 29 today, Saturday up to 35, cloud clearing on Sunday 28 and sunny for Monday 32. At the moment 10. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Over 70 years, Meals on Wheels have delivered millions of meals. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
5AA Summer Breakfast with Will Goodings and Premier Peter Malinauskas.
Settling into the chair nicely is the Premier. Lots of text coming through on 044808 1395. We'll get to some of those shortly. We are also off to the US to round out this half hour. David Woyward for 7 News, covering the next step in the Republican primary process. What's Donald Trump been up to? And also the latest in the Josh Giddy trial, which came to a conclusion yesterday with police withdrawing all charges. The meat tray this morning, inspired by the Premier's office, who said the question should be, when have you ever felt completely out of your depth? I don't think he seemed out of his depth. He's done a wonderful job. Stacey in Richmond's on the line. When have you felt out of your depth, Stacey?
Good morning. I think now I have. Good morning, Premier.
Good morning, Stacey.
I'd like to say, first off, we're doing absolutely fantastic in South Australia with all the sports events that are going on and bringing in so much interstate travellers and money to our state in hospitality. But I still worry about hospitals,
Me too.
the nursing staff and the doctors are often getting the blame for the ramping of the ambulances. I've had 2 absolutely life-saving operations in the last year and a quarter and came out on Wednesday from further absolutely necessary surgery. I would like to say our nurses, our doctors are doing their very, very best.
Yeah, well said, Stacey. It's an important point. You're right.
They're good people.
Yeah.
They're good people, and that's why we need more of them. And that's why we're getting more of them. It just takes time to recruit them, unfortunately. But, Stacey, I'm glad that you had a positive experience. I mean, I think the reality is, for the overwhelming majority of people who have an interaction with the health system, it's positive. The challenge is making sure that when you get to the hospital with a particular need, like if you've got a high acuity, if you're really unwell and you get to the hospital, trauma, there's pretty much nowhere else in the world you'd rather get crook. The problem is for the people in that lower category, they're the ones that can find themselves waiting. And that's all about capacity. And where we've been able to increase capacity quickly, we've done it, and the ambulance service is a good example of that, and response times are down. But what we really need in the hospital, for the sake of the doctors and nurses who work in there, is more beds. And that's what we're working overtime on to build up additional capacity for. And there's 150, over 150 beds coming online this year, 130 beds coming online next year. But I wish I could click my fingers and know that construction had been finished, but it takes a bit of time, unfortunately. But I'm glad it's worked out well for you, Stacey.
It's a lovely call, Stacey. Thank you. There will be an opportunity after 8 o'clock where you can ask the Premier anything. So we're going to try and get as many people on, as many questions as possible, and you give you direct access to the Premier of South Australia. Daniel in Summerton Park is a Meat Tray Friday entry. Morning to you, Daniel.
G'day, boys. How are we?
Good, mate.
Morning.
Good. So, don't worry. I won't ask you any tough questions, mate. Just wanted to share a story. Back when I was living in the United Kingdom, I lived there for 4 years, and a Facebook ad came up saying, "Do you want to play football for Australia against the France national team?"
Absolutely.
So I thought probably not good enough for that, but I'll apply anyway. My dad's quite good with letters, so he wrote a letter of recommendation with a bit of history. It was on Anzac Day in 2018, so the 100-year anniversary at Villa's Brett News. So
wow.
The next minute I'm on a flight over there and meeting Malcolm Turnbull and Prince Charles. And
wow.
If I wasn't out on my depth already, then we went to the footy game, and it was a 9-a-side at a rugby field, and there were 8 ex-VFL, AFL players and myself.
Wow.
So
that is amazing.
Daniel, what exactly was it what was on your CV? Like, what got you the invite, do you think?
My dad's letter. I can guarantee he's a very wise man, and we have my great-grandfather was in the Second World War over there in England.
So you think it was your familial heritage. That makes sense.
It certainly wasn't football skill.
I was going to say, he didn't write that you played 230 games for Richmond on there or something, did he?
So no, but he could have mentioned that I played C grade against Peter Malinauskas this year at Adelaide Uni.
Oh, wow. Who for?
For Colonel Light, we had a bit of a chat about live golf.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you guys gave us a touch-up in like round 1 or something, I think. It was,
we touched everyone up until the finals, then went out in straight sets. So there you go.
Well, who was, in terms of who you were playing with, those ex-AFL or VFL players, any big names?
No, none that I remember. I was too starstruck by the fact I couldn't even get on the pitch, to be honest, Pete. I certainly was definitely in over my depth. But I'll add a quick thing. I just want to thank you for everything you've done. And my wife, you're actually my wife's hall pass, if you know what that is. But you probably need to
she obviously didn't watch us play footy, mate.
No, she was sick that day. That's typical.
Daniel, that was magnificent. That's the beauty of live radio, Premier. Anything can happen.
That's why I'm bracing myself. I'm just going to get through the next 2 hours and 18 minutes.
Magnificent. 8223 with your Meat Tray Friday entries. We've been talking about the build-up to each 2 and Out understage over the course of each morning this week. And today, the Unley Gala returns for the first time in 4 years. The Mayor of the City of Unley, Michael Hewittson's on the line. Mayor, good morning to you.
Good morning, indeed, Will, and good morning to Premier Peter.
Morning,
great to hear him on the radio, and great to hear you this morning.
So, is it a case of just dusting off the playbook from 4 years ago, or is it going to look a little bit different to people that attend?
Look, it always evolves over the time, and yes, it will be a little bit different, but it still has the strengths of the same. We're wonderful to be back. We'll probably have a crowd of 20,000 again. We start off at 5 o'clock with the kids area, sound, kitchen. If you want to do some painting, little Picasso, there's a range. Then you've got Marty Bubble coming on at 5:30. So then it goes on into the evening, and boy, have we got a cracker of an evening for it. It'll be a balmy summer's evening. We haven't had too many of those this year.
That's for sure.
And King William Road, Michael, it's come along an absolute treat, I've got to say. You guys, when the council did that redevelopment, there was a bit of controversy, a bit of heat came your way. But I drove down there a few weeks ago, and it looked magnificent. It was busy. There were people out on the street, having al fresco dining everywhere. So credit to you, and hopefully more people enjoy it on Saturday night.
Look, I'm actually delighted where it's come. We've got a year or two more of the 80-odd trees that we've got planted down, but they're making a There'll be a bit of a cooling thing early on in the evening, and that's a great thing. But we've got in Unley people that make clothes and designers and boutiques, and, you know, they're on show. We've also got an art gallery in there. And so it's just an exciting street, not only to eat and dine at, but it's also an exciting street to walk down and explore the many other things in the street.
Mike, I don't want to make this adversarial, but we had the mayor of the Nord, Payneham St Peter's on, Robert Breer, the other day to kick off the stage there in Nord. And he suggested that the parade is Adelaide's premier street. What would you say to that?
Look, the parade is good, and well done for the start that happened. We've got to start also on Sunday morning, and we've had breakfast, and the places will be open Sunday morning. And we've had crowds each year at the start of a race going over the mountain. So we're absolutely delighted to have the Saturday night event. We'll bring 20,000 people together, lots of fine wine dining, adult entertainment, a stage show. It kicks off with Lycra Legends competition. And no, I was asked on Channel 10 News whether I would be wearing Lycra on the day. No, I'll be dressing properly as a mayor. Lycra is for those outstanding cyclists. I'll cycle 100k through the hills quite happily, and I'll wear Lycra because it's comfortable. But I'm not wearing Lycra for the event, but probably many people will. So do come along.
To each his own.
Indeed.
Thank you, Michael. The Mayor of the City of Unley, Michael Hewitson, very magnanimous in his comments.
Very. I think when you said, I don't want to be adversarial, you wanted him to be adversarial.
Oh, I 100% wanted him to be adversarial. Exactly. Have a crack. We tried to get it happening the other day. I thought it was just extraordinary comment, Nord, the parade being the best. I think every suburb has a street they think, this is the secret gem. This is what people don't know about.
Every suburb has a street.
Yeah, there's a street that you think
is magnificent. Yeah. I think that is true.
Yeah, I think there's a district or a place or an area in your suburb that you think is pretty special.
That is true. I can think of one in my electorate that stands out.
Mm. You actually got a good sort of a good area with a lot of up and coming, new, trendy places.
Yeah, it's eclectic.
Yeah,
but you know, my electorate is in the inner western suburbs, and 49% of everyone in my electorate has English as a second language.
Is that right?
49%. It's unbelievable. So, you know, I think about like my street. It's a bit of the United Nations. But I like that. It's good, and we do it well.
13 to 7, 8223 0000 is the number. We're getting lots of texts, and I promise we will get to those very shortly, but some good Meat Tray Friday entries as well. We're going to check traffic and come back with police and weather in just a moment. Traffic, thanks to Novita Tech. They can support you to live more independently. The summer sale's on now. Visit novitatech.com.au.
Thanks, Will, and good morning. Roads are working really well today. The Northern Connector accident and breakdown free. Freeway working well too from Bridgewater through to Glen Osmond. Got the tour down under heading through Langhorne Creek, Murray Bridge and Port Elliot today. Beautiful day for it, so look out for detours and cyclists through there. And a best Watermain slowing things up at Seacliff, Brighton Road near Wheatland Street. You'll find cameras, Sturt Highway, Sheoak Log and Upper Sturt Road at Belair. Harriscarf's 4-day friend sailing's on now. Save 50% of all cookware and kitchenware by Tefal and Scanpan. Exclusions apply. Harriscarf, great brands, great prices. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Quiet, please.
Bupa Health Insurance, preparing Australians for life on and off the court.
Steinborner Automotive in Gawler, Norriutpur and Clare has always been well worth the trip, even more so with their 40th birthday sale. Steinborner has purchased over 400 certified vehicles, SUVs and 4x4s, all with free roadside assist, and ripped $500,000 off normal prices across the range with $1,500 trade-in bonus on all trade-ins. Plus, deals on new and demo Hyundai, Ford and Mitsubishi. Visit steinborner.com.au.
Decisions change lives. For a young person, it could be the decision to hang out with the wrong crowd or the decision to get involved in things they shouldn't. For someone like you, it could be the decision to change the life of a young person for the better by partnering with Youth Opportunities. Their personal leadership programs help transform young lives and their communities for the better by developing their direction, confidence and the skills to make the right decisions. Youth Opportunities has helped thousands of young people get their life on track. You can read more about their amazing stories at youthopportunities.com.au. If you want to improve outcomes for young people, get in touch with Youth Opportunities, because opportunity is life-changing.
Looking for style and security for your home? Gliderol Garage Doors have been doing this for 50 years. Now's the time to upgrade your home, because when you order a new roller door, sectional door or custom designer door with an operator by the 28th of February, you'll receive a bonus $100 gift card to spoil yourself this festive season. If it's time for a new look for your home or to upgrade, do it now. Call for a free measure and quote and helpful advice. Visit gliderol.com.au today. Retail customers only. T's and C's apply.
Over 70 years, Meals on Wheels have delivered millions of meals. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
FIVEAA Summer Breakfast with Will Goodings and Premier Peter Malinauskas.
10 to 7, great having the Premier in. You'll be able to ask him any question you like after 8 o'clock today. Also got a meat tray running. When have you felt out of your depth? Some great entries. I'll just read one on the text line from Karen, who says, due to my work, I was privileged to meet Sir Mark Oliphant a number of times. The first time I met him, I was so overwhelmed I could hardly speak. Karen, it's a lovely entry to the meat tray.
That's a big deal. Mark Oliphant was an extraordinary human being.
What an experience.
Yeah.
Thank you, Karen. And I think, is that Dan has sent through a picture of the 2018 Anzac Day clash that he was involved in?
I remember meeting Dan now.
Dan, what an extraordinary contribution to the meat tray. Thank you, Dan. Let's head to the Weather Bureau. Hannah Marsh is on duty. Hannah, looks like we're going to get some cracking a couple of days ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got just a little bit of cloud over the ranges, but other than that, not really much to speak about. We're looking at a maximum of 29 degrees today in the city, getting up to 30 at Elizabeth, 28 at Glenelg, 27 for Noarlunga, and 28 also at Mount Barker. We are seeing the wind shift around to the north today and into tomorrow. So we'll see the temperature get up to 35 degrees tomorrow. Again, it will be a sunny day, but we do have a change that we'll see come through during the afternoon, which will just drop the temperature back to 28 degrees on Sunday. Bring a little bit of cloud as well, but that should clear. And then temperature climbing again up to 32 on Monday and 36 for Tuesday and 37 for Wednesday.
That feels like summer. Thank you, Hannah. Hannah Marsh at the Weather Bureau. Let's head over to SAPOL. Senior Constable Kate Dawson is on duty. Kate, there's been a break-in at Forestville this morning.
Yeah, this was about 4 a.m. this morning. Police were called to Leah Street, just near the tram stop there, after 3 people were seen forcing their way into a cafe. So the trio stole a cash drawer before leaving in a small white car. Patrols quickly arrived at the scene and searched the area, but unfortunately we've been unable to locate the suspects at this time. We're just asking anybody who saw or heard anything suspicious in the area, or somebody who may have dash cam footage, to contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Also, a truck rollover just out of Murray Bridge this morning.
Yeah, this is about 5 a.m. Emergency services were called to the intersection of Kepper Road and Schulz Road, which is just east of Murray Bridge, after reports of a chicken truck rollover. So the driver managed to escape through the windscreen. He's relatively uninjured and is being taken to hospital by ambos as a precaution. But I've been told, sadly, there are some injuries to chickens. So we've got a heavy vehicle tow truck on the way, and the company owner is heading to the scene as well. Some speed restrictions around the area, so just asking everyone to avoid the area if possible while that clean-up's underway.
And speaking of clean-up, what happened at the Britannia roundabout?
Yeah, so don't cry over this one. We've just in from the east of the city there. Patrols are on scene at the Britannia roundabout, where about 19 crates of milk have fallen off the back of a truck and smashed onto the road. So police are picking up the crates and just moving them to the side of the road. We've asked MFS and the council to come and help us with the clean-up, but there's still a fair bit of milk on the road. So just asking everyone to take care if you're driving through the area, as there may still be some emergency services on scene. I've just chucked a couple of pictures up from patrols on Twitter and on Facebook if you want to have a look.
So, Kate, the responsible vehicle, the truck, didn't come to grief. There's no sign of it.
No, that's like I just said to Beck, I don't know how they didn't stop. How can you not notice if your whole load falls off around a roundabout? Anyway, there'll be a few upset cafes this morning, I reckon.
And there's some flavoured milk amongst some of those crates.
I think there's some fruit juice as well, by the looks of
there's
it.
a bit of Nippy's fruit juice or something like that in there.
Might head down there.
Yeah, what, does that just go straight in the safe hole fridge, or is it evidence? What's happening?
Well, may as well. I mean, it's probably just going to go off down there, isn't it?
It'd be a horrible waste otherwise. I wonder if anyone saw it come off, or was around Britannia around about having to negotiate crates of milk and juice and other things.
I don't know how you would not notice that. That's a lot of milk. That'd be loud.
Yeah.
Like that coming off the back of your truck. You'd notice that, sure.
You would have thought. Maybe, yeah, if you were a witness to it or you've been through the area, give us a buzz. Tell us what's going on. 8223 0000 is the number. We're heading off to the US now. David Woiwod is the 7 News US correspondent. David, good morning to you. The primaries have moved on. Is it any warmer in New Hampshire than Iowa?
We're not there at the moment. I'm in LA, but I'll be heading off there on the weekend to New Hampshire. And, yeah, it is freezing there at the moment.
Okay.
It's negative 15 or so. We saw that in Iowa. It was just absolutely bitterly cold. And we don't know if that had much of an effect on the actual vote, the primary vote there. But, look, we've seen Trump romped it in Iowa by huge margins, history-making margins. And, yeah, now he's off to New Hampshire. There last night campaigning. He went straight from his New York courtroom where he was in that defamation case with the journalist, the former E.G. Carroll, a defamation case there against him. And he headed straight off from court to start that campaigning, and he'll be going right through until that vote on Tuesday.
Sounds like he had a pretty combative exchange with the judge as well.
Yeah, it had a bit of a blow-up yesterday inside that courtroom. Donald Trump was sitting just a few rows away from the woman he was found liable of actually sexually assaulting, E.G. Carroll. And when she was up on the stand giving her testimony, saying she was making claims that he was a liar and that he had ruined her reputation, he was seen in that courthouse and heard very loudly calling her a liar. He was physically reacting to everything she was saying. And the judge came and said, can you please keep your voice down or I'll have to kick you out. Donald Trump up to him and said, I'd love to. And they sort of had a bit of a tete-a-tete there. Look, he didn't end up getting booted out in the end. He did sort of pull his head in a little bit. And they proceeded with that trial. And that trial is sitting again today for its third day. But Donald Trump's not there. We understand he'll be attending the funeral of his mother-in-law. So a bit going on for Donald at the moment.
There's been a bit going on for former Adelaide 36er Josh Giddey as well, David, but some good news of him yesterday. It sounds like no charges will be laid with regard to that allegation about an underage relationship.
Yeah, this is a really difficult story for Giddey. For those who hadn't been following it, there have been some pictures put on social media showing Josh Giddey and a young female companion. And the allegation had been that perhaps he had been involved in an underage relationship. He was asked about that at the time. He said he couldn't say anything. He started investigating, and then so did Californian police, and that have concluded yesterday that he has absolutely nothing to answer.
I think we're just losing you there, David. So their phone line just dropping out between Adelaide and LA, unfortunately, but we get the gist. It was good news for Josh Giddey in what's been a complicated period. It seems to be that the key factor was the nature in which they met, which was at a licensed premises. So the police concluded there was an expectation that the people were of a certain age if you're inside a premise like that. But yeah, it's been a pretty ugly chapter in his life and his career, and reaching something of conclusion yesterday. 2 minutes to 7, 5AA News very, very shortly. After 7 o'clock, we'll take you through a wrap of some of the stories knocking around Adelaide, Australia and the world this morning. We're also going to chat with Luke Flesher from Allied, a local company that's been selected by Google to make their Google Chromebooks here in Adelaide. We'll have the Ask the Premier segment after 8 o'clock. Plenty more Meat Tray Friday entries to come. And, of course, it's Friday. So we'll have Feedback Friday after 8:30. If you want to play and win yourself $200 worth of Samtaz seafood, you can call in a little bit closer to 8:30. Chat with Sam and we'll do Feedback Friday.
Jayco's MY23 factory sale is now on. For 10 days only, take advantage of great deals across the entire range. With prices starting from just $23,590 and hot summer savings of up to $3,000, now's the time to plan your next great escape. With stock available for immediate delivery, there's a van for every budget and adventure. So if you're warming to the idea of a new RV, visit jayco.com.au to find your local dealer today.
Follow the lights with Hurtigruten and Phil Hoffman Travel. Experience the most beautiful coastline in the world on a Norwegian coastal cruise with Hurtigruten in 2024 and 2025. Whether it's following the northern lights or chasing the midnight sun, there's something for everyone. Book now to save up to $1,500 per couple and receive 600 Norwegian kroner when you join the Platinum Cruise Club. Offer ends 31st of March. Contact Phil Hoffman Travel. Visit pht.com.au.
I'm Kathy Nagel, the Chief Executive of Western Hospital, Henley Beach. Orthopaedic surgery is enhanced at Western Hospital by a well-established short-stay program focusing on returning you home following your joint replacement. A joint school is provided prior to surgery, led by experienced orthopaedic nurses and physiotherapists who support you during your journey toward a safe and often early return home. For more information about orthopaedic short-stay surgery, visit westernhospital.com.au or call 8159 1200.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Sunny and 29 with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
From chips to replacements, make Complete Windscreens your insurer repairer of choice. CompleteWindscreens.com.au.
Pakistan has launched a highly coordinated military strike on Iran, killing 9 people. The attack's in retaliation to Iran's strike on Sunni militants inside Pakistan. Former CIA operative Bob Bears told Today the attack is unprecedented.
I can't remember this ever occurred, especially a missile strike against an Iranian village. The Iranians are going to react to this, and this is what concerns me, is this escalation is continuing to go up.
It comes as the US launches more airstrikes on Houthi rebels in Yemen. A White House spokesman says the strikes destroyed missiles which were being prepared for use in the Red Sea. Police are investigating a break-in at a small business in Forestville early this morning. Senior Constable Kate Dawson says they were called to Leah Street just after 4, after 3 people were seen forcing their way into a cafe.
The trio stole a cash drawer before leaving in a small white car. Patrols quickly arrived at the scene and searched the area, but unfortunately we've been unable to locate the suspects at this time. We're just asking anybody who saw or heard anything suspicious in the area or somebody who may have dash cam footage to contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
And police are investigating a bus crash at Paradise. An Adelaide Metro bus T-boned another on Darley Road near the interchange during peak hour yesterday. Declan Dwyer from the MFS says they had to cut some of the passengers free.
Multiple people were reported as trapped and injured, and we responded and found quite a chaotic scene.
Half a dozen people were taken to hospital. No one was seriously injured. Many workers are against the idea of going back to the office full-time. A new survey's found about 3/4 feel a hybrid working environment provides better work-life balance, helps save money, decreases stress and increases happiness. International Workplace Group Country Head for Australia, Damien Sheehan, says working from home part-time is likely here to stay.
It's been well documented as well about people realising they really didn't enjoy the commute 5 days a week. And they were genuinely happier, and productivity broadly didn't drop off.
The police response to a mass shooting at a US school in Texas has been deemed a failure. 19 students and 2 teachers were killed when a gunman stormed the facility in Uvalde. A report from the US Justice Department shows police officials didn't demonstrate any urgency in responding to the attack. Prince William has visited his wife in hospital as she recovers from abdominal surgery. Edward Godfrey reports.
It's the first time he's been seen publicly since Kensington Palace revealed the Princess of Wales has undergone abdominal surgery and will remain in hospital for up to 14 days, recovering. Little is still known about her condition, but she'll be out of public duties until April, it's expected. This comes as Queen Camilla made an appearance in Aberdeen, Scotland at the opening of a charity group where she gave a brief update on King Charles's condition. He needs treatment for an enlarged prostate. She told a guard that he's doing fine and is looking forward to getting back to work.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Get immediate delivery on Mitsubishi Triton from Agostino Mitsubishi Nailsworth and their brand new dealership at Mawson Lakes.
Here's Tom Rennie.
Thank you, Kendall. Cricket first. Australia is in the box seat to complete the first test against the West Indies as soon as this morning at Adelaide Oval. The home side was dismissed for 283, giving them a lead of only 95 runs. But the Windies are struggling with the bat, limping to 6 for 73, thanks largely to Josh Hazlewood.
Edge taken. Smith gobbles it up. Hazlewood has 4 for 2.
Incredible audio there, thanks to Seven. Well, Day 5 of the Australian Open has thrown up some absolute thrillers with action finishing at 20-4 local time this morning. A very tired Craig Gabriel reports from Melbourne Park.
The upsets and the nail-biting matches continue, and a record was broken in the match between Elena Rybakina and Anna Blinkova. Blinkova beat the third seed and last year's runner-up 4-6, 6-4, 7-6. But that tiebreak was a staggering 22-20. The 42 points played made it the longest tiebreak in Grand Slam history. Thanasi Kokkinakis lost to Grigor Dimitrov, and Kokkinakis said Dimitrov is in a great form. An 8th seed, Holger Rune, was upset by French wildcard Arthur Cazaux.
The Socceroos have guaranteed their progression into the knockout stages of the Asian Cup following a hard-fought 1-0 win against Syria overnight. Meantime, Macarthur FC's defeated a 10-man Brisbane Roar 3-1 in the A-League. West Aussie Sam Welsford has continued his great run at the Tour Down Under, taking out Stage 3 while Mexican Isaac Del Toro retains the ochre jersey. And the Illawarra Hawks have had their hearts broken by a buzzer beater from the Cairns Taipans, going down 93-92. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Good morning, beautiful looking day and really good down the roads too. No great hassles on the way to work on a Friday, which is nice. Do have a couple of boost automates to look out for. You find one at Seacliff, Brighton Road near Wheatland Street. Another one at Oakton, Crane Junction Road near Foster's Road. Two down under heading through Langhorne Creek, Murray Bridge and Port Elliot today. Beautiful day for it. So look out for detours and cyclists. And we've got cameras this morning, Fraser Avenue, Happy Valley and Grant Road at Ranella. Wouldn't you rather be driving the #1 selling vehicle in Australia, Ford Ranger? Discover all the reasons why the Ranger is Australia's favourites, only at your local Ford dealer. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Jayco Adelaide's factory sale has a van for every budget, with savings up to $3,000. Hurry, ends Saturday.
Sunny and 29 today, up to 35 tomorrow. Cloud clearing on Sunday, 28, and sunny for Monday, 32. At the moment, 11. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Over 70 years, Meals on Wheels have delivered millions of meals. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
5AA Summer Breakfast with Will Goodings and Premier Peter Malinauskas.
7 after 7. David's back on Monday, so we're back with our regular complement. And I think with him, I'm going to make a complaint to 5AA management because I don't know what the hell's happened to this show over the course of the next 30 minutes. Have a listen to this. We're going to be produced by Portman Sam Daddo. We've got Tim Ginniver coming on, and my co-host is the Premier of the State, Peter Malinauskas.
Hallelujah.
What is going on?
It's about time.
We used to have standards.
It's about time we had a bit of representation from the port side of the fence on this program.
I don't know. They've snuck this under me. I don't know what's going on. Your assistant out there, Nick Harmson's a good Fremantle supporter.
He's a Freo supporter.
He's a Freo supporter, so I can't blame him. He's not a co-conspirator.
I knew there was one in Adelaide somewhere, and I managed to
you hired him,
put him on the team. Yeah.
Well, we'll be talking sport, albeit I can't imagine there's too much footy. There's plenty around to talk with Timmy about with the test, albeit what's left of it today. We've got a quick question on the text line for you, actually, Premier, about that. And indeed, the Tour Down Under and the tennis. We'll get into all that with Timmy G shortly. A good local manufacturing story after 7:30, and then your chance to ask the Premier any question you like after 8 o'clock today. Ian on the text line says, not only was a Wednesday start not a good idea, but why was the cricket scheduled to clash with the Tour Down Under? Cricket Australia should have respected our timetable. Does that factor into the conversation? Do they look at what else is on in the city?
I think Cricket Australia got the calendar out and thought, right, how can we diminish this test match as best as possible? And they picked the dates they did. It almost feels like that.
What's in it for them to do that?
You tell me. I mean, I think cricket scheduling, I think, is notoriously complex because you've got international considerations, trying to accommodate the Big Bash and so forth. And I get that. I don't diminish that. But the fact that there has been almost a degree of contempt shown towards the South Australian cricket supporter is what I was asked about and offered a free opinion. But I don't know. It beggars belief.
Barry on the text line goes, perhaps he's touching on the degree to which that contempt exists. He cannot believe that there's been no answer to your queries about the scheduling or some justification from Cricket Australia
there has
to
been
you.
Nothing.
No communication.
And nothing publicly either. And to make matters worse, something I didn't realise until someone drew it to my attention, they started the test match at 10 a.m. So the test match traditionally at the day started at 11, but then they started bringing it forward to 10:30 for finishing at 5:30, which is 6 o'clock Eastern time. Good for the news. Okay, we'll cop that. But then it's now 10 o'clock as well. What's the rationale there?
You're right. It's almost like tanking, isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost as though they are indifferent to the implications of, a good working person who might have to take a day off, or now has to take 3 days off if they wanted to get to the weekend.
That's why I think getting 26,000 on the first day was a miracle.
Amazing.
An absolute miracle.
But it was always going to happen because we show up.
Yeah, exactly. We've got a meat tray to give away on this Friday morning, thanks to Liam, Joanna and the team, My Local Butcher Chanella's, 62 Prospect Road at Prospect, asking you when you felt out of your depth. Vita texted us and said, in the 80s I worked as a merchandiser and did pretty well. 6 weeks ago, at the age of 70, I decided I'd go back to work to supplement my pension. Boy, was I wrong. I lasted 2 days, way out of my depth, and I couldn't keep up with the pace and also what was required of me. Well, you gave it a go, Vita, and good on you. I think more people should be able to go back to work to supplement their pension. We lose experienced people in this country from the workforce far too early.
And we've got a tight labour market. Look, the number one issue I hear from businesses around the state, big or small, business, there could be and it doesn't matter what the industry is still shortage of labour. And crying out for skilled and experienced labour. So for as long as that is the case, I think those types of policies are worthy of examination.
We're getting more and more pictures of people that have played against you in the footy. You must just line up and do photos after every Adelaide University game.
Not real. I haven't seen these photos.
Dion sent through a picture. He says the time he felt out of his depth was playing against you. In fact, he said, I got in a bit of a scuffle with this good-looking bloke, and after the scuffle finished, one of my mates says, didn't you like his tax policies? And I said, who was it? He said, it's Peter Malinauskas. Apparently, it was the game you hit your head too.
Oh yeah,
he said within 30 minutes you got hit in the head, and this guy, your previous adversary, he was administering first aid.
Yeah, I was. That was a bad one. That was when I reckon that was the COVID season. We're playing against Blackfriars, and what didn't get put out there actually got the knock was pretty bad. Yeah, I fractured my skull.
Did you really?
Yeah.
What do you do for fractured skull? You sort of
it was really minor, but look, the neurosurgeon was incredible. But basically, it just took me, I think it was 5 to 6 weeks, and it just heals on itself.
But presumably, you can't really do anything physical. No, you couldn't have played footy.
I could play 6 weeks later.
Wow.
But it was, look, I don't want to sound dramatic about it. It was a very minor.
A fractured skull's pretty dramatic, no matter how minor it is.
It was a pretty long 48 hours. I'd never been concussed before in my life, and I can understand why all the concern there. It was pretty awful feeling.
Yeah, that's no good at all. Josh in Meadows has texted in, said, not sure if you touched on the beer tax. My mates and I enjoy going to the pub, but a round is already close to a carton. And this next hike will probably end our days at the pub. Could very well be the death of pubs in my eyes. Well, it's a story that leads off our little wrap of some of the other things going on around this morning. The thing to which Josh in Meadows is referring is the biannual indexation of the alcohol tax. So that will see pints go up to about $15, according to the advertisers' calculations. It in itself is a 2 to 3% rise. The big picture numbers, the tax on a $55 carton of beer will be about $20, so nearly 40%. 63% of the cost of a 1 litre bottle of spirits is taxed. That is mind-boggling. So the people who make it, the people who transport it, then the people who sell it, be it at a pub or retailer, they get 37% of the money you spend on a 1 litre bottle of spirits. I hate this tax because it's lazy, and I actually think the feds get away with a whole heap more lazy taxes than state governments do, because we see it with bracket creep. It's a huge debate at the moment. It's not indexed. So every year as wages go up, and that's what we hope the economy does, people earn more money, they just happen to get bumped up into a high tax bracket, and the government hasn't had to do anything, but they get a nice new revenue stream. They do it with things like in the federal budget, iron ore prices are only going to be $60 a tonne, and we all know it'll probably be about $110, and you get to the end of the budget, and look how well we managed it. Governments of both hues do this. And there are all these really lazy things that are built into federal budgets. This one I hate because it hurts small business owners. It hurts people who run pubs.
So I don't know if I've said this publicly before, but what I've got a bit of a sympathy for is the argument that there should be a differential between the tax for on-premise consumption versus off-premise takeaway.
So buying a carton versus just going to the pub and getting a
Correct.
pint.
So if you go and get a pint, what is it now? 12, 10, 12?
It could be up to 15 now.
Right. So somewhere between 10 and 15 bucks, depending on what you're drinking, I guess. So say if you get a round of 4 beers, that's 40 bucks. You can see why people might actively choose, look, don't go to the pub, we'll go buy a carton or drink at home. And to what extent is that healthy? Like supporting small businesses who, because pouring beers is labour intensive, there should be in a perfect world, you would like the idea of there being a bit of recognition in a tax sense towards that. And also on-premise consumption, I think there's a growing body of evidence to say people consuming alcohol on-premise, which is regulated, you can't continue to get served if you're...
Supervised environment, that's right.
And it's also social. Like people are looking out for each other, they're engaging in a way that is, generally speaking, healthy. Whereas if you're at home drinking by yourself, that feels like a less healthy environment to be having a few beers or whatever your poison is. So I've always thought that there should be a bit of discretion or sympathy shown towards a differentiated tax rate between on-premise versus off-premise. Easy for me to say that because it's not my revenue, not state government's revenue that would be giving up, it's the Commonwealth's. But nonetheless, I think it's a discussion worth contemplating.
And it feels like a punitive tax that doesn't recognise the reality that people are drinking less than ever.
Indeed.
And young people are drinking less than ever.
They are. It's quite a phenomena, actually. Young people are drinking progressively less, and you hope that that's not being replaced by anything else. But but beer in terms of categories of consumption too, beer is on the decline. Wine has been sort of stable as far as I know, but beer's been on the decline. Yeah,
the good text. Thanks, Josh. Thank you for that. If you're waiting for the call last night for the Division 1 prize for the $100 million Powerball, the biggest jackpot in 6 months, because there have been no Div 1 winners the previous 4 Powerball draws. I don't think anyone's phone rang in the end. No Division 1 winner. The numbers were 17, 20, 21, 22, 24, 31, 34, with 6 as the Powerball. $100 million. You can't have as frank a conversation as most people do around the city, can you, Premier, about would you turn up for work the next day?
No. It wouldn't go unnoticed. There wouldn't be too many congratulations coming your way either if you're a politician.
Do you think if a politician wins $100 million, they become unelectable? Like, is that an Australian cultural thing? Would we find it hard to...
Well, everyone would think it was rigged somehow.
Yeah, that's true.
That'd be the starting point. So there'd be some sort of conspiracy that would quickly emerge. But I don't think it's happening anytime soon. $100 million. And it didn't go off.
Didn't go off. So it'll go up
again. Did you say that they call?
They do call. Yeah, they call the person directly.
That's amazing.
Especially, I think if you buy an old paper ticket,
yeah, that's right.
I think there's the majority these days, I think, do it via the app.
Right.
And if you're on the app, you have to register your phone number. So they do. When the Div 1 goes off, we often speak to the person who makes the call.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they say that every single time the hardest part of the call
is convincing
the person it's not a scam.
Yeah, see, private numbers, you're normally inclined to let it go through to the keeper. You wouldn't want to miss that call.
That's the other thing. Yeah, it's exactly right. But so it's going to go up even higher into the future. Let's have 150, is it, Sam? 150 million next time. Crikey, that's
truth.
That is an
Is that like a record or something? Has it ever got that big before? That's a lot of money.
This was one of the biggest. It was so it's the biggest in the last 6 months. But yeah, 150 must.
I've often wondered about how the economics of it works. That must mean there's a lot of people buying tickets.
Yeah. Well, a lot of syndicates. It's been impossible to track these days if it's all done digitally as well. Independently, you got a sense. I always got a sense when there was a big lottery jackpot coming. Walking through Westlakes Mall once upon a time, because on the morning of, you could see the queues at the places that sell the tickets. Sam Daddo's just wandered into the studio. Morning, Sam.
Morning, Premier. Morning, Will. The highest Australian Powerball jackpot was 160 million back on the 27th of November 2022.
Did it go off?
Well, it must have.
Well, it must have. It didn't go any higher.
No, but was it one winner or was it?
Stand by. Talk amongst yourselves.
You find that out. You know what? You come back after the break and let us know.
But if the jackpot's 160 million, you wouldn't mind sharing it because even if 3 people get it, you're still doing it right.
Yeah, you'd probably be happy with, even if 100 people shared it.
That's right.
It's better than a kick in the pants. 18 after 7, we're going to check traffic and come back talking sport with Tim Junimer very shortly. We do so thanks to Novita Tech, who can support you to live more independently. The summer sale's on now. Visit novitatech.com.au.
Thanks, Will. Got the best water mains to look out from the drive-in this morning. One at Seacliff, Brighton Road near Wheatland Street. Another one at Oakton, Grand Junction Road near Foster's Road. Got speeds at 25. 2 down under, heading through Langhorne Creek, Murray Bridge and Port Elliot today. Day for it. Look out for detours and cyclists through those areas. And we've got cameras, Barossa Valley Way to Nunda and Bayards Road at Ranella East. Pick up a better brekkie at Hungry Jack's. $6 for a barbecue brekkie wrap and 2 hash browns, paired with a barista-made coffee till 11 a.m. on app only, and pick up at Hungry Jack's. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Matthew Pantelis.
In the Playford area, someone's left a couple of dozen more, I think, tyres on the side of the road. Glenn Doherty, Mayor of Playford, you must be dealing with this sort of thing all the time. What's the cost?
For our council, it's around $1 million a year.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding.
Weekday mornings from 9.
It's around $1 million a year to pick up and manage illegal dumping and illegal waste.
It staggers me that people care that little about the area they live in.
On 1395, Adelaide's 5AA.
Mum, Dad,
Hey, honey.
I've met someone.
Oh my God, is he a doctor? A lawyer? Is he a surgeon?
He's a concreter. From Adelaide Exposed Concrete.
But why? Didn't you say so?
At Adelaide Exposed Concrete, we're committed to the highest standards of service, design and workmanship.
Finally, we've got a concreter in the family.
Adelaide Exposed Concrete. Best on ground, all year round.
Remember when milk came in bottles? I mean real glass bottles. It somehow tasted better and it was better for the planet. That's why the Fluorio Milk Company have partnered with the Udder Way to bring you milk in a glass bottle. The reduction in single-use plastic bottles will be phenomenal, in the millions. Join the fight to reduce plastic and look for milk refill stations in your supermarket. Thanks to Fluorio Milk Company and the Udder Way. Visit fluoriomilkco.com.au for more.
Tired of your rent and bills going up and up and up? Pump them down with EcoVantage. It's easy to switch your existing hot water system for an energy-efficient heat pump, even if you're renting. And thanks to federal and state government facilitated subsidies, it could cost as little as $0. Start saving hundreds off your water heating costs. Hit up your landlord and ask for the EcoVantage switch. Visit ecovantage.com.au. T's and C's apply.
Mawson Lakes Mazda's 2023 Play Clearance Sale is on now. Discover amazing deals across the entire range, including free on-road costs on all cars. That's right, free on-road costs across the entire Mazda range. Hurry in to find your perfect model and colour. The sooner you get to the showroom, the better your chance of scoring your dream car. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city, Salisbury Highway.
Wella, summer's the time for great outdoor cooking. Stock up with Hoyt's herbs and spices and add flavour to your summer barbies. Season steaks with Hoyt's oregano, salt and whole black pepper, or rub some Hoyt's lemon pepper onto fish or prawns and spice up a salad with Hoyt's giardiniera pickled vegetables. You'll be happy with Hoyt's at Coles, Woolworths and all good independent supermarkets.
Fill those empties with Hoyt's spices, yeah!
Come in to Novita Tech during our summer sale and discover the piece of equipment that could support you or a loved one to live more independently. We offer Australia's largest assistive tech experience, and right now you can save up to 50% off mobility, bedroom, bathroom and kitchen products, as well as daily living aids and more. Shop in store at 31 Manton Street, Hindmarsh, or online at novitatech.com.au. T's and C's apply. Novita Tech. Make the world fit you.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Over 70 years, Meals on Wheels have delivered millions of meals. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
5AA Summer Breakfast with Will Goodings and Premier Peter Malinauskas.
23 minutes after 7. Our resident stats man is a guy by the name of Ben Jordan, a listener who we love. He crunches numbers for us all the time, and he never fails to deliver when we've got a request. 107 million in 2019, the biggest individual winner in Australian lottery history.
117.
107 million.
Wow.
107 million. So that was the biggest individual win. What do you think the biggest in America is? Biggest individual
Wasn't
win?
there a $1 billion lotto or something at one point? Or
$2 billion individual winner.
Oh my word.
Two bit, which would put you in Australia, would vaunt you amongst the richest Australians.
Oh, you'd be right up there.
You'd be right up there. Just the next day.
Right up there. Do they get? No, I don't think they do get taxed.
No, I don't think so either. Do they?
On lotto? If you win the lotto, do you? Nah, you don't get taxed on the lotto. Oh, in America.
Oh, yeah, maybe you do. Be state by state basis. You'd want to win it in Florida or somewhere like that.
So did I tell you about the tax regime that went on the Live Golf prize money?
Yes.
Did I?
Well, no, I don't know if you told it. I remember hearing that.
So it
injected a bit into the federal coffers.
Absolutely. So all the Live Golf, the first prize was $20 million, right? All paid for by them, and the guy who won it was complaining when he got back to the US because half of that goes to the ATO in income tax. They all have to pay income tax, and then I worked it out. The whole prize money was 20 million US. So then I worked, so that's about 36 million Australian dollars. Half of that went to the federal government in income tax. So the Commonwealth got, let's call it $18 million of income tax. So I got in touch with my federal colleagues and I said, listen, you guys made $18 million out of the golf. I know what the state government paid to get the golf, and it's an absolute minuscule fraction of that. I said, you just refund us the money, refund the state government the money that we pay to get Live, and you guys can keep all the cream on the income tax. And the reply came back, well, how's the $350 billion submarine program going? And I thought, okay. Well,
okay.
Yeah.
How long are they going to hold that over our heads for? The next 25 years, I guess.
Well, they're going to pay for it somehow, I guess. But unbelievable.
That is remarkable.
I didn't realise that all the tennis players for the Australian Open, they all have to pay income tax on their prize money as well. Which is fair enough. It
becomes an issue in team-based sports in the United States because you can have salary caps to smooth things out and all manner of things, but there are some states where you don't pay personal income tax. So it becomes incredibly more...
Of course, they have differential income tax between states.
That's right. So it becomes, in some instances, way more lucrative to work and play in some markets than it does in others. It hampers competition, actually, in the United States. Equality and competition. 26 after 7. Let's talk more about sport. Timmy G joins us.
And speaking about report cards with distinctions, here's Ginnivan.
Tim Ginnivan on 5AA Breakfast.
Timmy G!
Get $10 off your favourite cut of steak Saturdays at the Excelsior Hotel. You just know it's a Barrow Hotel. Timmy, good morning.
Happy New Year, gentlemen. How are we feeling?
Timmy, good morning. Nervous.
Good morning. I tell you what, I was excited to hear that the Premier was on, and especially when Daniel rang and said that he's the wife's hall pass. I mean, that was such an inspiration, but it's sort of, it would have done your confidence a world of good. But how do you think I feel when I go to the cupboard to grab a cup to make a cup of tea, and then I look at the cups and they've all got Travis Boak in different positions on them? Dents a man's confidence. Hey, boys, the West Indies test, I heard you talking about it, and of course we all know the disregard in which Cricket Australia have treated Adelaide, and I just feel for the people, and it's all come to fruition now as we're looking at a test that's probably going to wind up today. But the cricket lovers, and you think of the people that went back to work who were thinking, I'll get there on, maybe I'll take half a day Friday and Saturday off or whatever. Country supporters who would be dying to come down for the weekend, and the SACA members themselves, they buy their membership knowing they get a test match. They'd be feeling ripped off. So it hasn't gone well for us, and I hope that it gets made up in the next couple of years, which I know you've had your fair say about Premier.
Yeah, look, so I've declared, be transparent about this. I'm a SACA member, have been since I was knee high to a grasshopper, and the I think SACA membership now is about $400 or something like that. So, and you pay that because you get the test match. And I know a lot of people that are going to end up seeing a ball of cricket because they couldn't take time off work during the week.
They got to get it right. They got to get it right because it is very disrespectful. For what keeps getting told, we had Megan Shute on last night, who's really excited about the South African series they've got. They get to play at Adelaide Oval, and they've been amazing, the Australian women. Pat Cummins spoke to us during the week. He said it's still the best ground that you can play on in Test cricket. So they love it.
Everyone gets it except Cricket Australia, apparently.
I spoke to Jim Maxwell. Now he's a person who's seen Test cricket literally everywhere, and he said it's still his favourite Test. Now I don't know if he was just saying that because he was talking to me, but coming from him, that's a big call.
Well, he's not a politician, so I reckon I believe it.
Fair cop.
And mate, Rowie said on Monday with you, Will, that he believed that both SA clubs could make a grand final. And we sort of went through the talent that's in the list. It's quite amazing. Like, the Crows have got 6 All-Australians in their team. Port Adelaide have got 8 now. And the young talent that's coming through, the Crows probably just Pip Port, but we know that our younger guys now are basically leading our club. How did you feel about that leadership change, Premier? Were you excited about it with Rosie and Butters leading the way?
I am. I was very supportive of it. I think it's the right call at the right time. That midfield, our midfield, Timmy, is a premiership winning capable midfield. No doubt about it. And I think Hall and Francis, injuries is always a big deal. But Hall and Francis, will only improve. I think that frees up Ollie to do a completely different role. The forward line will be interesting to see how it plays out this year. Like, keeping Charlie fit still strategically for us matters a little bit too much than it probably should. But anything's possible if a Georgiades or Marshall step up. Anything's possible.
No, absolutely. We've got to keep believing. That's what it's about. So you're doing a great job, mate. And is Pembo having another week off, Will?
I think if we offered him another week in Mexico, he'd take 2. But he's scheduled to be back on Monday.
Gracias.
A Mexican fiesta for
all
next week.
All next week?
Yeah.
I think for 2024. It's just going to be recipes and rare plants and...
all sorts of stories.
People always say, well, how does Pet David get on when he travels? And there was once he told me a story about the things he's into travelling that his family struggles, and I'm sure he won't mind this, but he gets super excited. Sometimes during the show, we'll be in an ad break, he'll go, do you know in X country that he's going to, they've got a museum dedicated to the cockerel? And I go, no. And then he'll spend the rest of the next hour trying to work out, how am I going to tell Kate and the kids that this? I want to go to the Cockerel Museum. So the idea they've been in Central America for 5 weeks and everything to him is the Cockerel Museum is going to be superb to hear about when he comes back next week.
Unbelievable. It'll be wearing Finley by the end of the week, I reckon.
I think so. Yeah, quite possibly.
He'll come back as El Pembo.
That's right.
He already gets me to call him El Pembo. What are you talking about? Good on you, Timmy.
See you, El Presidente.
Speaking about report cards with distinctions, here's Ginnivan.
Tim Ginnivan on 5AA Breakfast.
Timmy G!
True story about the cockerel. All right, let's go to a break. That was Timmy G, thanks to the excellent Excelsior, which you just know it's a Barreau hotel. Sunday, kids eat free with every main adult meal ordered at the Excelsior.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Sunny and 29 with the 7:30 news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Chipped windscreen? Complete Windscreens can repair it from just $99. Look for the big red koala.
A truck carrying chickens has rolled near Murray Bridge. Senior Constable Kate Dawson says it happened at the intersection of Kepper Road and Schultz Road.
The driver managed to escape through the windscreen. He's relatively uninjured and is being taken to hospital by ambos as a precaution. But I've been told, sadly, there are some injuries to chickens. So we've got a heavy vehicle tow truck on the way and the company owner is heading to the scene as well. Some speed restrictions around the area, so just asking everyone to avoid the area if possible while that clean-up's underway.
And around 19 crates of milk have fallen off a truck and smashed onto the road at the Britannia roundabout. Police are at the scene cleaning it up. The hunt's on for 3 people who broke into a cafe at Forestville this morning. The trio forced their way into the cafe on Leah Street just after 4, stealing a cash drawer before escaping in a white car. The country's largest retail industry body is calling for an urgent resolution to the dispute between DP World and the Maritime Union. It comes as the nation's ports are at a standstill due to a long-running industrial action affecting retailers. Australian Retailers Association Chief Paul Zara says the parties need to get back to the negotiating table to stop a bad situation from getting worse.
We know many retailers are experiencing significant out-of-stocks and a result actually not being able to fulfil catalogue merchandise, particularly with the current back-to-school promotions going on.
The Weather Bureau's warning of a potential tropical cyclone impacting on the Queensland coast from mid-next week. A tropical low is developing in the Coral Sea and will strengthen over the weekend as it slowly makes its way towards the coast. Communities on the entire east coast of Queensland are advised to stay up to date with forecasts and warnings. The US Justice Department has found police officials demonstrated no urgency in responding to a school shooting, which killed 19 young students and 2 staff members. The response to the Uvalde shooting in 2022 has been heavily scrutinised after it was revealed more than an hour passed between officers entering the building and killing the gunman. Attorney Joshua Koskoff has been fighting for stronger gun control in the US since the Sandy Hook shootings in 2012. He says the bigger question over Uvalde is how was the gunman so easily able to purchase weapons?
The day he turned 18, he had made his decision long in advance. In fact, he had ordered 60 30-round magazines, and they were delivered to his home. How did that happen?
Prince William has visited his wife in hospital where she's recovering from abdominal surgery. William has reportedly cleared his schedule to support her. She's postponed royal duties for some time. And false teeth belonging to Britain's wartime Prime Minister Winston Churchill are going up for auction in the UK. More from the BBC's Claire Runnickers.
Sir Winston Churchill was better known for his rousing speeches than for his terrible teeth. He lost several in his 20s. He had a distinctive lisp and made sure that didn't go when his dentures were made. The set's thought to be one of 3 or 4 identical dentures he owned. One set's buried with him, another's in a museum, and you could snap up this one when it goes up for sale next month.
Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
Drive away with a great deal at Agostino Mitsubishi Nailsworth and the brand new Agostino Mitsubishi Mawson Lakes.
Here's Tom Rennie.
Thank you, Kendall. The Socceroos have booked their place in the round of 16 at the Asian Cup with a 1-0 win over Syria. Midfielder Jackson Irvine scoring the winning goal.
Here's Jackson Irvine. It's there for Australia. Jackson Irvine. 2 goals in 2 games at the Asian Cup finals.
That call there on Paramount Plus. They'll now prepare for their final group game against Uzbekistan, and that will be played on Tuesday night, our time. Let's get to cricket, and South Aussie Travis Head has helped put Australia in a commanding position after day 2 of the first test against the West Indies at Adelaide Oval. The 30-year-old smashed 119 off only 134 balls, while debutant Shamar Joseph picked up 5 wickets. The Windies trailed by only 95 runs after the first innings, but have crashed to be 6 for 73 at stumps, Josh Hazlewood picking up 4 wickets. To tennis at the Australian Open, South Aussie Thanasi Kokkinakis went down to 13th seed Grigor Dimitrov in 4 sets last night.
His slice was unreal. It felt like he barely missed one, and the ones he was hitting, he was like knifing.
Isla Tomljanovic also lost her singles match to Yelena Ostapenko in 3 sets, while 3rd seed Elena Rybakina is also out of the tournament after going down in a marathon 3rd set tiebreaker to Anna Blinkova, losing at 22 points to 20. And former Ireland coach and All Blacks assistant Joe Schmidt will reportedly succeed Eddie Jones as Wallabies coach. And that's the FIVEAA Sport.
Now to the traffic.
Should have a good run into work today. Summit Expressway, accident and breakdown free. Really good run on the freeway too, from Mount Barker through to Glen Osmond. A couple of worse water mains to keep in mind. You'll find one at Oakton, Grand Junction Road near Foster's Road, speaks to 25. Another one at Seacliff, Brighton Road near Wheatland Street. And we've got the tour down under heading through Langhorne Creek, Murray Bridge and Port Elliot today. Look out for detours and cyclists through there. You find a camera as well, Port Wakefield Road at 2 Wells. From the studio that brought you Minions and Super Mario, Migration is a funny and heartwarming adventure the whole family will enjoy. Migration, only in cinemas now. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on FIVEAA.
Jayco Adelaide's factory sale has a van for every budget, with savings up to $3,000. Hurry, ends Saturday.
Sunny and 29 today, up to 35 tomorrow. Cloud clearing on Sunday, 28, and sunny on Monday, 32. At the moment, 14. More news as it happens on 5AA.
If you've been holding off on a new roof, get in touch with Focus Home Improvements. We use SA's finest tradespeople, which just happens to be our tradespeople. We only use Australian quality materials, and believe me, you'll appreciate it years from now. Plus, as a bonus, we'll throw in up to 40 metres of free gutter guard. Up to 40 metres! New roof? Now's the time. Organise a free quote. Visit focushomeimprovements.com.au.
It's been gone for decades. It's a thing of the past. But even today, it haunts some of us. If you suffered from polio as a child or it affected your parents, Polio SA Support Group would like to hear from you. Symptoms like weakness, joint pain and fatigue may still persist and can be managed. Polio SA is committed to making life for polio survivors as comfortable as possible. Find out more at poliosa.org.au.
Solitaire Volkswagen's 3-day sale is on now, and it's your ultimate chance to save up to 25% on demonstrator vehicles. Plus, get a $500 parts and accessories voucher with any Volkswagen demonstrative purchase. The choice is all yours, with over 100 vehicles to choose from, all ready for immediate delivery. And remember, tomorrow there'll be free family activities at Solitaire Hawthorn and Medindi showrooms from 11 a.m. Now, that includes things like coffee vans, there's a sausage sizzle, you can take the kids along, get their face painted and more. Your chance to get up to 25% off demonstrator vehicles during Solitaire Volkswagen's 3-day sale. It's on now, but it will end tomorrow at 5 p.m. Visit solitairevolkswagen.com.au, dealer licence number 65541.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, the Lynn Andrews team have made it easy for landlords to manage residential and commercial property. From single homes to multiple commercial holdings, our passion for property investment means we have a great deal of knowledge. How to do it safely and properly, matching the right tenant with the right property every time. We're here to help you. Visit lynandrews.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Over 70 years, Meals on Wheels have delivered millions of meals. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
5AA Summer Breakfast with Will Goodings and Premier Peter Malinauskas.
20 minutes to 8, coming up after 8 o'clock this morning. Your chance to ask the Premier any question you like. He's with us right through until 9 o'clock today, doing a terrific job sitting in David's chair. Simply call 8223 0000. Have a chat with Sam and Emily. They'll queue you up and we'll get you on talking to the Premier of South Australia. The Premier, you were yesterday at a press conference about a really good local manufacturing story featuring our next guest, Luke Fleshers, the Head of Sales and Marketing at Allied, a group that were, by the sounds of things, picked by Google to make the new Chromebooks here in South Australia, for Australian kids, but make them here in South Australia. Luke, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, Premier. Good morning, listeners.
Morning, Luke. So, what happens, Luke? How do you get found and picked by Google? Does Larry Page give you a call, or what goes on?
Yeah, he's got me on speed dial for sure. It's a long process. So, I mean, we've been doing computers, so our core business is gaming PCs, and we've been doing that for a very long time, 15 years or so, based here in Adelaide, and you know, we've developed a bunch of awesome processes. We've got a great workforce behind us, very experienced, and then with the Allied brand, which is our own brand. So previously we've worked on a number of international brands, but Allied is our brand we've taken from South Australia out into the world. It's a fantastic brand. We've grown it, you know, and then from one aspiring tech giant to one that is the tech giant, we were connected, made good sense. They love the brand. They love the approach that we take to manufacturing, and they love the fact that, you know, things like the procurement policy in South Australia, where locally made stuff is actually weighted more heavily to contracts. It makes perfect sense for them. So it's really just that culmination of a good thing, and happy to bring it to South Australia.
So how much bigger do you have to get to accommodate, you know, this new manufacturing component, or can you do it within your current sort of your setup?
Yeah, we can certainly manufacture to a pretty decent level at the moment, but we are bursting at the seams at our current facility. So the Premier's been out a couple of times, and to our premises in Beverley, and yeah, we are very much looking to expand. We will need to expand to meet that sort of demand, but we're pumping out a lot of units every day as it is. But yeah, certainly, as we move, particularly from the assembly of computers and the assembly of these Chromebooks to our ultimate goal, which is end-to-end manufacturing at a component level, that's another level altogether. That's sophisticated robotics and all that sort of stuff. So it's really moving right into the high-tech space. That's going to need a significant a flagship facility for sure.
When you would know better than I, Luke. I just see the headlines, but you work in the industry. But there seems to be a lot of movement globally in the computer manufacture space, and certainly component manufacture, things moving out of China into Southeast Asia, or the US now trying to protect the industry and onshore it there. Are there opportunities in that flux for South Australia, do you think? I mean, you've obviously got one here in this particular instance, but could we grow this business in South Australia from your perspective?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The sovereign supply chain is a huge issue for establishing a sovereign supply chain is a huge goal for tech, and you're absolutely right. The Asian scenario there, or the Chinese scenario, and the turbulence in the region is absolutely having an impact, and companies are looking to onshore and make sure that any turbulence doesn't affect the business, because if something does happen, then computers basically grind to a halt. So there is a lot of movement, and absolutely the tech companies are looking. There's opportunities. We've sort of been aware of that for quite a long time, and yeah, we are really looking forward to making sure that we can shore it up here. And in that component level discussion at the moment, we might ship a case from China, which is where they're all made at the moment. But there's no reason why it can't be made here. There's absolutely no reason. So yeah, it's just a cost thing, and we just work through that supply chain end to end, and eventually it'll all be possible, 100%.
So this product is the Chromebook is for kids, as I understand it. Is the client then state governments? Are they in schools, or is it for sort of personal home use?
Well, that's the plan, yeah. So very much sort of been working closely with the Department for Education. They've got their school device policy. We're looking to, we spoke to them about the spec that would be required for schools, and yeah, you're right. It is the Chromebook that we're producing is very much an entry level device, aimed for years 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 kind of thing. There are more powerful Chromebooks, of course, as well, but I mean, the good thing about a Chromebook is that it's a really lightweight device. It's super secure because, as opposed to a Windows device or a Mac that most people would be aware of, there's a lot less involved in a Chromebook because there's all the storage and all the memory and is mostly on the motherboard. If you have a fault, you can swap it out. So rather than having to take the storage drive out of a laptop, which is can be quite a process and can result in a lot of downtime for that device, with a Chromebook being based online, if a Chromebook develops a fault, they'll just grab another one, which we would have as an advanced replacement, put it out, give us the student, they log back on, and they're up and running again in a second. So, as well as being a pretty hardy little 11-inch device, sort of rugged, and it's hard to pick the keys off and stuff that kids like to do. Yeah, they are super swappable. So they're really great, really lightweight, and then without the technical complexity that a Windows device can need, they're a lot lower cost as well.
It's a great story. Delighted that you won the work, Luke, and it's providing jobs for South Australians. Appreciate your time.
Up to 500.
Yeah, pleasure. Yeah. We are definitely hoping to, as we scale up, we're hoping to add 500 jobs. This interview is a bit of a homecoming for me. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but I was the OG breakfast intern back in 2004. So 20 years later, I'm being interviewed on the Brekkie Show.
2004. So that would have been what, Keith and Pilco?
Keith and Pilco, yeah. I was there when they hit number 1 with Blakey and all the rest of the crew. I started very professionally with my internship. I started in a nice pressed shirt and pants and that sort of stuff, and got way too comfortable way too quickly. And
that's radio.
Yeah, ended up in Ugg boots and a beanie most mornings.
That's pretty much the standard. Yeah, nothing's changed on that front, Luke. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're saying there's hope for people that work here yet? We could go into computer manufacturing.
Absolutely hope. Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Well, that's superb, Luke. Well, we're glad to have you back on the air. Glad to be able to tell what is a fantastic story. Great to chat with you.
Pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Well done, Luke.
Luke Flesher, the head of sales and marketing at Adelaide.
I've been down there a couple of times. Little factory in Beverley, and there's a swarm of young people making laptops right here in Adelaide. And then to get this partnership with Google, is pretty amazing. I think there's only 13 or 14 places anywhere in the whole world where Google actually licensed the manufacture of Chromebooks, and now one of them is here in our state. And our hope, the potential, is that the Department of Education, we've got this trial with them. We're starting at Murray Bridge and Cleve Area School, where we're using these laptops, and if they pass all the trials, there's every chance that South Australian kids in South Australian public schools will be using laptops made in South Australia. Which
fantastic.
And the capacity to grow that across the country, because there's no one else doing this. We're the only place in the country where this is making these Chromebooks, is pretty extraordinary.
I touched on the fact that it's been a huge political issue in the United States about onshoring some of their capability, but it sort of harks back to a previous era where it's seen as a security risk. If you can't maintain and create computers these days, well, what happens if in this international conflict?
It's a real issue. I mean, Whyalla, where we produce structural steel for the country, is the only place where we can produce rail. And there is a necessity to maintain that ability to produce rail for the nation as a sovereign capability issue. That is fundamentally important. But when we think about laptops, it's no different. I mean, laptops are a tool of the trade as much as anything.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, if that supply was to be compromised, it would be a big problem. So the capacity to do this, and this hasn't been driven out of a sovereign capability policy, it's been driven out of the fact that it's economic to do it for a whole range of reasons in South Australia, which we've been working with Luke on.
11 to 8. Let's check traffic and come back with more in just a moment. Novita Tech can support you to live more independently. The summer sale's on now. Visit novitatech.com.au.
Thanks, Will. Getting busy in a few spots on a Friday morning. The tunnels on the freeway, both directions there. South Road also sluggish around Mile End and Theberton. A couple of burst water mains. You'll find one at Seacliff, Brighton Road near Wheatland Street. Another one at Oakton, Green Junction Road near Foster's Road. I got the two at Anna heading through Langhorne Creek, Murray Bridge and Port Elliot today. Look out for detours and cyclists. And there's a camera at Grant Road at Ranella. The Jeep summer plate clearance is now on. 2023 plated models are priced to clear with over $11,000 of value on offer. Now's the time to get the Jeep you've always wanted. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The Kluger 7-seat SUV is here to move your family and to move you at Jarvis Toyota's brand new home in Brighton Road, Somerton Park. It's an SUV that knows you expect practicality but want luxury and beautiful design too. There's no need to wait for the kids to grow up. You can have your dream car now. Take a test drive of the Kluger SUV today at Jarvis Toyota, now at Brighton Road, Somerton Park. Proudly celebrating 22 years of great deals.
Before you do a thesis in dishwasher, depart on an oven odyssey, or make a pilgrimage up Mount Washing Machine. Just trying to work out what appliances to get? Drop into Adelaide Appliance Gallery. We're here to make your life easier. We've got the best advice, best appliances, and the best offers on Smeg. Choose from Smeg's Diamond series of dishwashers and you'll save up to $500. Make your life easier with Adelaide Appliance Gallery, Paynham Road, St Peters.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Local and experienced trade specialists.
Or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
Energy providers are still emptying your wallet, but the good news is that now it's cheaper to generate your own electricity using solar and batteries. NRG Solar's expertise can guide you to owning your energy sooner. As a trusted retailer, they provide you with top-tier solar battery technology, complete with a 10-year warranty, blackout protection, and user-friendly apps for ultimate control. Fight back with NRG Solar and take charge of your electricity. Visit nrgsolar.com.au today.
City Discount Tires. Get saving this month at City Discount Tires. When you buy 3 Wild Peak AT3W all-terrain tyres, you'll get the 4th tyre free. The perfect tyre for your next adventure. City Discount Tires are a proud multi-tyre and wheel brand retailer offering great service at great prices. Visit citydiscounttires.com.au to find your nearest store. City Discount Tires. We're driven by value. City Discount Tires.
FIVEAA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to FIVEAA on Facebook or YouTube. Over 70 years, Meals on Wheels have delivered millions of meals. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
5AA Summer Breakfast with Will Goodings and Premier Peter Malinauskas.
Seven minutes to 8. We're going to meat tray to give away. We'll do that in about an hour's time. And it's thanks to the excellent people at Chanella's. A lot of Christmas platters from Chanella's in the Goodings household each and every season. The meat tray, thanks to Liam, Joanna and the team there. You'll find them at 62 Prospect Road at Prospect. Mark in Para Hills has called in. Mark, when have you felt completely out of your depth?
Yeah, well, Premier, it was back to 2014. I think it links on to what I spoke to you and Dave about in August. I'd organised my first link-up with a space station for kids. And I thought, well, I'll invite the governor. And I didn't think he'd turn up, so I didn't mention anything to anybody. He's coming.
Oh, wow.
It was a comedy of errors after that, because it was like an hour before he rocked up that I told my superiors that he was coming, so I won't say what they said. But then, because these things are around the world via the amateur radio setup, NASA, Roscosmos, JAXA. I had people from Japan ring me up, wanted to organise a link-up with the Japanese Space Agency for the kids.
Oh, wow. I remember, I remember your McCall, yeah. Mark. So it gained that much momentum.
Yeah, it did, yes. I had our video link-up with the Japanese Space Agency, and we had the then chief of the Japanese Space Agency talk to us, very slowly, of course. Yeah, that was. I was just overwhelmed. I thought, how the hell do I get in this spot?
So, how did it play out with the governor then?
Look, he was so nice. He had all these emails about protocol and all that sort of thing, and I got there and I didn't know if I had to shake his hand or bow or curtsy or whatever. He just shook my hand and said, "Call me Kevin." Oh, okay. There was such a big build-up, and he was such a lovely man. He just call me Kevin, please.
Yeah.
Wow. So he and his wife turned up. That was a really good evening. And just as a play on Will, from the August link-up, the American astronaut that we spoke to is actually coming to Australia, and he's reached out to me on my LinkedIn network, and he wants to come to Adelaide to meet the kids that he spoke to.
Is that right? Wow, what an amazing experience for those kids, Mark. That was all your work for putting that together. I remember when we interviewed about you were trying to get it up and running so that the kids could ask questions whilst the astronaut was on the space station. Well done to you, Mark. Those kids will remember that for the rest of their lives.
Yes, so do I, actually.
Well done, mate.
Well done, Mark. It's a great Meat Tray Friday entry as well. You're well and truly in the running to win the Meat Tray. It's a superb effort by you, and I'm sure you weren't out of your depth at all once you got through the protocol and whatnot. We got some texts, and I'm going to call these early Ask the Premier Anything texts, because I'm sure we'll get some deeply political questions for you as well, but sometimes...
I hope so.
But sometimes they're not, and I like the sort of lateral thinking Barry and Bowden has come up with on the text line 0480081395. Barry says, would the Premier rather have a rotated/shared gather round every few years, or a rotated and shared grand final every few years?
That's interesting. Gather round economically arguably brings more to the state than a GF would.
Yeah, more games, more people over a bigger period.
Visitors, yeah. So from a pure public policy context in terms of bringing new dollars into the state, it's almost worth as much. But the grand final brings the attention and the eyes of the country at a singular point in time. I mean, I've changed my view about the grand final in Melbourne. I used to think that it should always be at the G.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, well, it's the biggest ground.
Yep.
It makes sense. But I've changed my view about this now because If it was at the biggest ground to accommodate the most supporters, that would make sense. But only 37,000 of all the tickets at the grand final are allocated to the supporting clubs.
That's right. And the rest of me, they're corporates or the MCC members.
That's
are a
right.
huge chunk.
That's right. So it's 37,000 go to the club, like to the two participating clubs, not 37 each. That's, I think it's like 17 or 18 grand each or something. And then 62,000 people are blow-ins. So
yeah, it's not about servicing supporter groups
that's
at all.
right. So you could accommodate those 37,000 people at Adelaide Oval and still have 13,000 or 20,000 for corporates. But all the main punters who actually make the game come to life would be accommodated. So I've changed my view about that.
Yeah, it's always felt to me like a mature national competition, like it does almost anywhere in the world.
Yeah,
it moves. America's the model when it comes to finals and grand finals. Essentially, they're sports. We follow them, and they move it around. And it democratises the sport.
But the G's got locked up, I think, till 2057 or something.
That's
like
right.
That. Yeah, something nuts. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So we'll stick with Gather Round. Thanks, Barry.
Yep, Gather Round it is. Thank you, Barry. Great question. You can ask the Premier anything. We're going to throw the phone lines open after 5AA News, but get calling right now. Chat with Sam and Lucy, and we'll get you on with the Premier. Sam and Lucy. Sorry, Emily. Lucy's at the Australian Open. It's just a force of habit. Sam and Emily, and get your questions sorted for the Premier. We'll open the phone lines right after 5AA News.
Heading out on the water? Make sure you have the correct life jacket. Head to marinesafety.sa.gov.au and use the Life Jacket Checker tool. A message from the Government of South Australia.
Is your bloated belly making you feel fat and miserable? Introducing new Caruso's Bloaties. Caruso's Bloaties contains peppermint and ginger, which are traditionally used in Western herbal medicine to relieve belly bloating, plus digestive enzymes to help your body digest lactose and fat. So if you're fed up with your bloated belly making you feel fat and miserable, try Caruso's Bloaties today. Caruso's Bloaties is available from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Sunny and 29 with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
From chips to replacements, make Complete Windscreens your insurer repairer of choice. CompleteWindscreens.com.au.
The Middle East is on edge as nuclear-armed Pakistan launches airstrikes on Iranian militant targets. More from Alison Petrowski.
Pakistan says they were targeting terrorist hideouts in the southeast of Iran, killing at least 9 people, including women and children. It is the first external land attack on Iran since Saddam Hussein's forces invaded in the 1980s, which started a vicious 8-year war. Here's Pakistan's foreign ministry.
This morning's action was taken in light of credible intelligence of impending large-scale terrorist activities against Pakistan by these terrorists.
The attacks were in retaliation to missile and drone strikes that Iran launched on Pakistan 24 hours earlier. Meantime, for the 4th time in a week, the US has struck Houthi military targets in Yemen as the war now extends far beyond the borders of Gaza and Israel.
Emergency crews are at the scene of a truck rollover near Murray Bridge. The chicken truck rolled at the intersection of Kepper Road and Schultz Road. The driver managed to escape through the windscreen and has been taken to hospital as a precaution. A heavy vehicle tow truck and the company owner are heading to the scene. A new survey has found the majority of hybrid workers would resign from their job if forced to return to the office 5 days a week. 70% of respondents also say working from home has helped them navigate cost of living pressures. International Workplace Group Country Head for Australia, Damien Sheehan, says people have grown accustomed to the habit.
And it talks to a wide set of data: productivity, financial, physical and mental well-being, and of course that daily commute, which everyone continues to hate 5 days a week and really just don't want to go back to that.
A report by the US Justice Department found the police response to the deadly Uvalde school shooting in 2022 was a failure and officials acted with no urgency. It took more than an hour for police to confront the gunman after entering the building. 19 students and 2 staff members were killed. Kimberly Matarubio's 10-year-old daughter Lexi was among them.
I hope that the failures end today and that local officials do what wasn't done that day, do right by the victims and survivors of Robb Elementary.
There's been a rise in the number of young women with cancer of the tongue, and as Gabriel Hodson reports, many have never smoked.
Tongue cancer rates are rising by about 4% a year in women under 45 and rising at a smaller rate in young men, but researchers at the University of Melbourne have no idea why. Booze and cigarettes have traditionally caused about 3/4 of all oral cancers, a socially isolating illness that can affect the ability to speak. The Sydney Morning Herald says almost 1,100 people in Australia were treated for tongue cancer in 2019, and that's predicted to reach well over 1,300 this year. Medical bodies are now teaching GPs and Victorian dentists how to detect the illness, which often begins as a mouth ulcer that just won't go away.
John Farnham's youngest son James has revealed his own health battle while his father fights throat cancer. On his 36th birthday, James has taken to social media to detail the major surgery that saved his life last year. Diagnosed with diverticulitis and ignoring the abdominal pain for months, which caused his bowel to rupture. And Margot Robbie has been nominated for a BAFTA award. The Aussie's in contention for Best Leading Actress for her role in Barbie. Overall, Oppenheimer will be the film to beat after being nominated for 13 awards, including Best Film and Best Leading Actor. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Get immediate delivery on Mitsubishi Triton from Agostino Mitsubishi Nailsworth and their brand new dealership at Mawson Lakes.
Here's Tom Rennie.
Thank you, Kendall. A century from local boy Travis Head and a devastating spell from Josh Hazlewood has Australia within touching distance of victory in the Adelaide Test match against the West Indies. Head made 119, raising the bat on the way to Australia, posting 283.
Through the covers for four. Travis Head, Test 100, number 7. They have come in their thousands here to the Adelaide Oval, and their golden boy has delivered for them.
Audio there, thanks to Fox Sports. Well, the Socceroos have made it 2 from 2 to start their Asian Cup campaign after taking care of Syria 1-0 overnight. The Aussies were made to work for the 3 points. Jackson Irvine with the only goal of the game in the 59th minute. Alex de Minaur and Storm Hunter are the only 2 Australians left in the singles draw at the Australian Open. Both will be in action today. Isla Tomljanovic, Thanasi Kokkinakis and Max Purcell all lost their matches on day 5 at Melbourne Park. At the Tour Down Under, West Aussie Sam Welsford has made it 2 stage wins in 3 days, while Mexican Isaac Del Toro will again wear the leader's ochre jersey. Today's stage will see riders begin in Murray Bridge before finishing in Port Elliot. And Aussie Jason Day has made a solid start in the opening round of the American Express tournament in California. He's 4 under, putting him 4 shots off the leaders, among them Xander Schauffele. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Getting busy in a few spots this morning. The freeway and the tunnel. South Road at Thepperson, a bit sluggish. Quite busy Brighton Road, Brighton. Got 2 burst water mains to look out for today. You'll find one of those at Oakton. That's Grand Junction Road near Foster's Road. Another one at Seacliff, Brighton Road near Wheatland Street. We've got the Tour Down Under heading through Langhorne Creek, Murray Bridge and Port Elliot today. You'll find cameras this morning, Upper Sturt Road, Belair and Malala Road at Malala. With Keno Go, you're only 3 minutes away from a whopping $40 million jackpot. Play with only $2. Download the Keno Go app and start playing today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Jayco Adelaide's factory sale has a van for every budget, with savings up to $3,000. Hurry, ends Saturday.
Sunny and 29 today, up to 35 tomorrow. Cloud clearing on Sunday, 28, and sunny for Monday, 32. At the moment, 16. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Mawson Lakes Mazda's 2023 Play Clearance Sale is on now. Discover amazing deals across the entire range, including free on-road costs on all cars. That's right, free on-road costs across the entire Mazda range. Hurry in to find your perfect model and colour. The sooner you get to the showroom, the better your chance of scoring your dream car. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city, Salisbury Highway.
Looking for style and security for your home? Gliderol Garage Doors have been doing this for 50 years. Now's the time to upgrade your home, because when you order a new roller door, sectional door or custom designer door with an operator by the 28th of February, you'll receive a bonus $100 gift card to spoil yourself this festive season. If it's time for a new look for your home or to upgrade, do it now. Call for a free measure and quote and helpful advice. Visit gliderol.com.au today. Retail customers only. T's and C's apply.
Over 70 years, Meals on Wheels have delivered millions of meals. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
FIVEAA Summer Breakfast with Will Goodings and Premier Peter Malinauskas.
8 after 8, we've had the Premier in since 6 o'clock. Meat tray, US, police and weather. We've done the program as per normal. We're going to take a slight departure from that here and now, because we want to give as many of you an opportunity as possible to ask the Premier absolutely any question you like. It's as simple as calling through on 8223 0000. I'm going to get out of the way and hand it over to our 5AA breakfast audience, starting in St Clair with Andrew. Andrew, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. How are you going? Just a question to both of you, Premier, on cricket. You're on record as stating that you weren't satisfied with South Australia getting dudded with copying the West Indies again. But did that criticism include, like, really just the worst possible scheduling we've copped? Like, we're right in the middle of TDU week, so we're competing with crowds there. We're also competing with hotel rooms where you've got spectators coming in for both events. We've also got, it's a day event, so it's not as though they can sort of come in for the night event. We miss out on the work crowds coming in for the evening on what would have been a day-night test. So Cricket Australia could have easily moved this game forward to probably last Friday. It would have worked. They could have swapped with Brisbane and given us an option there. Still rains on Australia Day in Brisbane, I can tell you that. There were a lot of different options they could have actually chosen, yet they left us not only with the least desirable team, but the worst possible situation. And they started on a Wednesday. They're effectively going to give us no weekend play, because this game will be over at 11 o'clock.
We made representations along those lines to them privately, Andrew, and the SACA came to the state government and we talked about it, and we made our views very clear to Cricket Australia about the prospect of having West Indies. But the Wednesday start was what I think really was quite contemptuous from Cricket Australia towards the sporting public in South Australia. And like I said, when I was, every time I've been asked about it in the media, I've offered a full and frank opinion, which is easy to do, but they really need to turn their minds to doing something long term here. And I guess the only hope is that into the future that Cricket Australia acknowledge that there's been a bit of a backlash associated with this, and they've got to start putting the patrons who make the game tick, even more than the players, arguably, people who put their hard-earned money on the line, take them into account when they put the schedule together.
Thank you, Andrew. Let's go to Seaford. Trevor, good morning.
Good morning. Premier, I'm a cab driver from a long time. When are we going to get relief from the fare levies? It's been going for 7 years. Average is $4,500 a year.
Yeah, Trevor, and lots of that is particularly made up, I think, of the insurance that you're required to get. So I do think there is an argument that the transition that the cab operators, particularly and plate owners and drivers, have had to endure with the prospect of Uber could have been done more smoothly. And it's easy to say that with hindsight. And we've got a bit of an effort underway within government, being led by the Transport Minister, who has a degree of affection for the industry, in trying to look at what can we do to ameliorate some of the challenges that have been bestowed upon taxi owners through no fault of their own, apart from the fact that there has to be an evolution in terms of the way the technology operates. And one of the things that we have heard the call on, that we have a degree of sympathy towards, and that is a bit more of the levelling of the playing field between the operating environment for Ubers and the regulations that we impose upon taxis, which are still quite onerous. So that exercise is on the way, and we would expect an outcome of that sometime during the course of this year. Okay, thank you, Trevor. Let's go to Ottawa. Rhett, good morning. You're speaking with the Premier.
Morning, Will. Morning, Pete. Hey, Pete, just a question. I know it's not as important as health or ambulances. E-scooters. we could have them going, mate. I think it would just make a lot of people's lives a little bit happier. A few kids might be able to use their Christmas presents out on the footpath. I think it would take a few cars off the road. It would take the burden off of a bit of fuel prices. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, so with e-scooters, we're currently having a pretty thorough examination to how we're going to regulate e-scooters. I think everyone accepts that, e-scooters are now part of the transport environment. Generally speaking, I think they're a good thing. It's about how they intersect with, the rest of traffic on the roads, but also on footpaths, and how do we regulate that? So that's something we're doing a piece of work on again to make sure we got that regulatory regime right. Some of these e-scooters do move at a pace now, and making sure that we've got the appropriate framework around speed limits, helmets requirements on the road or on the footpath is what we're going to make sure. But I think, e-scooters are here. I think they can be quite a versatile form of moving people around that we shouldn't inhibit. We just make sure it's safe.
Bill, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Will and the Premier.
Morning, Bill.
Just a short question. I know hold up with plenty wanting to talk. I'd like to ask the Premier why he gives free taxpayers' money going into free bus, tram and train rides to the sporting venues at times, and but when the nurses go to work, they've got to pay parking. I just want to know which he thinks most important, the nurses or the free ride to the football, cricket or whatever.
I think both matter, Bill. So in respect to the sporting side of things, when the move went to Adelaide Oval and the redevelopment of Adelaide Oval occurred, everyone acknowledged that the parking arrangements there were diminished in comparison to, say, Footy Park, and public transport's important when you're moving such a large volume of people because it ostensibly takes cars off the road in our CBD, which is busy without the traffic associated with a major event. In regards to our health workers, one of the things that we've done as a government is done a pretty substantial review in regards to and subsequently an application of the fees that health workers have to pay for paying at hospitals. And that was something that we committed to, and we've seen a bit of a change on. It took a bit longer than we would have liked, but that's now in place. And as a consequence, parking at hospitals for many of our healthcare workers has been dramatically reduced. Speaking of health, I think that's a question that Naomi has. Morning to you, Naomi.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, Mr. Premier.
Good morning.
My 77-year-old father had some major surgery done. Now, for him, for the rest of his life, to be able to do something that we all take for granted, which is the quality of speech, he has to pay out about $1,200 a month for the instruments, for the cleaning and everything that goes with being able to talk now. He cannot claim anything back on that in South Australia, but in the eastern states, they're getting $5,000 to $7,000 rebates on that. Why is South Australia not giving that option?
Okay, well, I'm not what's the equipment that you're talking about, Naomi?
So he has no voice box.
Right.
So now he has a voice prosthesis, and because he breathes through his neck now, through a hole in his neck, he has a little button there that closes off the airway so that he can talk. But the button is also a filter, so it filters the air that goes down straight into his lungs. Now that button is $10 each. He has to use two or three of those a day because it's a hygiene thing. But I'm about to go over and do another order for him. And the order per month for everything that he needs to go with it all is about $1,200 a month, of which, he's on a pension, and that's $12,000 a year that he cannot claim anywhere in South Australia through his private health, through nothing.
So there are a range of different, not just services, but also goods and materials that we, as state government, supply to people when they go home, particularly if they've got a home hospital plan or what have you. And we either subsidise that or sometimes on occasions provide that equipment to the patient outside of the hospital system. So it's not unprecedented, and it wouldn't surprise me that you're right, Naomi, that there are discrepancies between the states about who gives what subsidies for what equipment. But the circumstance regarding your father, that's the first I've heard of that. I've got to say I don't have any familiarity with the voice box technology and what the arrangements are there. So I don't know if Sam can get your details. We might find out a little bit more about that, and I'm more than happy to chase that up and come back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Naomi. We'll get Sam to pass your details on to the Premier's office for further consideration and discussion. It was Steve, Vince and Diane. We're going to get to you in just a moment. Still plenty of time to call in and ask your questions to the Premier. 8223 0000 is the number. We're going to take a quick break, though, and then we'll take questions right up until 8:30. Novita Tech can support you to live more independently. The summer sale's on now. Visit novitatech.com.au.
Thanks, Will. Busy in a few spots this morning. So Donald Rabbit Drive at Cowandilla heading into the city. South Road, Edwardstown's sluggish. Got the tour down under heading through Langhorne Creek, Murray Bridge and Port Elliot today. Good day for it. Look out for detours and cyclists around the place. Burst Watermate at Oakton slowing things up. Grand Junction Road near Foster's Road, speed to 25. And we've got a camera at the moment. Lonsdale Road at Shadow Park. Paradise Mazda's genuine huge stock clearance is now on. Be quick for your choice of 4 amazing bonus offers plus free registration, CTP and stamp duty. Only at Paradise Mazda. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowie and Timmy G on the 5AA Sports Show.
Crows can score, but they can't defend. So they get that right this year. I'm hopefully, optimistically, hopeful.
I think a bit more than hope, isn't it? Hope's for dreamers.
Okay, well, not hope. Let's get another word.
Rowie and Timmy G.
I reckon you're confident.
Confidently hopeful.
That's not quite.
4 p.m. weekdays on 5AA.
The sun is shining, so it's the perfect time to farewell hefty electricity bills and welcome a brighter future with NRG Solar. Unlock the power of the sun with cutting-edge solar battery technology that's backed by a rock-solid 10-year warranty, saves you thousands, and empowers you to control your energy usage like never before with a simple-to-use app. This summer, add value to your home and say goodbye to blackouts. Don't wait. Visit nrgsolar.com.au. That's nrgsolar.com.au.
I was just doing my job. I didn't think I'd get injured.
The doctor said it was a routine procedure? Right.
The car came out of nowhere and it smashed right into us.
At DBH Lawyers, we're here to listen to your story. Our team of local South Australian lawyers will help you navigate the law and find the best way forward. We're with you. We're for you. We're DBH Lawyers. dbh.com.au.
Before you do a thesis in dishwasher, depart on an oven odyssey, or make a pilgrimage up Mount Washing Machine. Just trying to work out what appliances to get? Drop into Adelaide Appliance Gallery. We're here to make your life easier. We've got the best advice, best appliances, and the best offers on Smeg. Choose from Smeg's linear range of ovens and save up to $1,200 during the clearance sale. Make your life easier with Adelaide Appliance Gallery, Paynham Road, St Peters.
Steinborner Automotive in Gawler, Norriutpur and Clare has always been well worth the trip. Even more so with their 40th birthday sale. Steinborner has purchased over 400 certified vehicles, SUVs and 4x4s, all with free roadside assist, and ripped $500,000 off normal prices across the range with $1,500 trade-in bonus on all trade-ins. Plus deals on new and demo Hyundai, Ford and Mitsubishi. Visit steinborner.com.au.
You want to save water in your garden. You need to save water in your garden. Garden Grove have everything to make it happen. Mulch to hold the water in, soil wetters to retain moisture, and a complete range of home irrigation, sub-irrigation, drippers, the works. Best brands, latest products, and the right advice to help you get it done. Be water wise in your garden. Get into Garden Grove.
Garden Grove, the garden that I want.
Garden Grove catalogue sale. On now. Golden Grove Road, Golden Grove.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Over 70 years, Meals on Wheels have delivered millions of meals. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
5AA Summer Breakfast with Will Goodings and Premier Peter Malinauskas.
22 minutes after 8, we'll get to some more of your calls as we invite you to ask the Premier absolutely anything you like in just a moment. Had some terrific calls just before the break. You wanted to touch on something that Bill mentioned to us a moment ago, Premier.
Yeah, Bill was asking about our healthcare workers and free public transport, I neglected to mention, because I just wanted to double check it, and I've been able to find the information now. We do provide free public transport to a suite of healthcare workers in the system. And that was part of the arrangement that we negotiated in and around the issues that we were discussing on paid parking.
Yep.
So as part of that arrangement for so many of our healthcare workers now, depending on where they work, they get free public transport to FMC, Lowell Mac, Royal Adelaide Hospital. So in response to Bill's question, it is very much free.
All right, let's go to Broadview. Steve, you've got a question for the Premier.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, Premier. Look, Premier, I have a very strong belief that people with a little bit of incentive to get into business, creative people with a bit of get up and go need encouragement. And I just fear that these days, with all the raft of industrial relations laws that the Labor Party wants to push through, and I mean, we've already got chain of responsibility, we've got, wrongful dismissal laws, we've got all sorts of laws, and now we're talking about making it a criminal offence if a company is found to be underpaying employees, and secondly, industrial manslaughter laws that are, and quite frankly, I have a business which is 36 years old. We're a significant company, and if I was going into business today and know about all of these laws, I wouldn't take the risk. And I just want to know, why do we put so much of the power into the employee's hands and not have a balance so that, laws that are there to protect people, they're good, but the employer is absolutely up against the wall these days.
Yeah. So, Steve, as a starting point, you're right. I mean, people who employ, and often, particularly in the South Australian context, that's small and medium business owners, they take a massive risk. They are taking on the risk of their own capital when they employ someone and when they start up a business venture. And we want to encourage that activity as much as anything else, because that's what generates the demand for labour in the first instance, well in excess of what government can ever do. That said, you're right to refer to the need for a balance, and that's what I've always sought to advocate for. And one person's balance is another person's imbalance, depending on what your perspective is. I think the nature of work for employees, it isn't an automatically equal power sharing relationship between an employer and an employee. An employee, doesn't necessarily have that bargaining power in the first instance, so they do rely on regulation and laws around them to ensure that their workplace is safe and they get paid the appropriate amount. Take, for example, what's now we describe as wage theft. The truth is that the overwhelming majority of employers pay their workers what they're entitled to. And occasionally there are errors, but it's not done with intent. What wage theft laws look to do is punish those employers who knowingly pay their employees less than what they're entitled.
You have to prove intent. You're not going to be captured by the law.
Intent is a significant variable. Similarly with the laws, the term has escaped me, also in regards to work health and safety laws, in terms of the issues around criminal negligence or criminal failure and responsibility, that is where an employer has done something egregious. So you're right, it's getting a balance, but the last thing we want to do, Steve, is put in place a suite of regulations that act as a disincentive for you employing people. And getting that balance right is difficult. And what we've seen in industrial relations across the country is this constant pendulum sort of moving from one end to the other, which in turn creates its own volume of work and bureaucracy. So, but advocating for the balance is a philosophy that I share. It's something we try and get right at a state level, but at the same time, as a Labor leader, it won't surprise you, I'm never going to apologise for making sure we've got regulations in place that ensure people get what they're entitled to in terms of their pay, but also are able to go home from work in a safe way.
Thank you, Steve. Vince, you're speaking with the Premier.
Good morning, Premier. The bane of my issue is that stamp duty in South Australia from home purchases, the average house now being $750,000. If you save up $100,000 as a young couple, $40,000 goes to the government on property stamp duty. But the big issue is the transfer fees in all other states is around $200 122,000, for example, in one jurisdiction. New South Wales, 152. South Australia, 6,700. That's out of kilter with all the main jurisdictions where, that's absolutely insane. People pay taxes on their savings and then they get slugged again. And so far as affordable housing, that's the biggest myth I've ever heard of, Premier.
Yep.
What are you going to do about it?
Well, Vince, in our last state budget that we handed down last year, we made the single biggest change to stamp duty that I can recall, certainly in decades, when we abolished stamp duty for first home buyers who are building a new home. So provided they met the eligibility requirements, they do not pay stamp duty at all. And that wasn't like a temporary relief to stamp duty, which is the way that these policies have looked like in the past, but instead a wholesale abolition. That is to say, it is gone. So that was a massive change. It obviously comes at great expense to the budget, but we made that decision because we deliberately want to incentivise people building new homes. So for first home buyers, rather than if they purchase an existing facility, they'll still have to pay stamp duty, but we're trying to deliberately incentivise them choosing to buy a block or a house and land package, and they will be stamp duty free. And that's a big change, and it's something I think first home buyers deserve. But understand this, when it comes to house prices going up in South Australia, which is to the benefit of many, what we want to see is a balance, and that's why we're so determined to have massive increases of supply and housing, and we've delivered the biggest land release in the history of the state.
Thank you, Vince. Diane in the Barossa Valley, good morning.
Oh, good morning, Premier and Will. Just wondering if the Labor Party are going to reinstate the pensioner concession on council rates.
Okay, so thanks, Di. Yes, we are always looking at our concessions regime, and we'll do that in the lead up to this year's state budget as well, which we're obviously already working on. You'll be aware that we doubled the cost of living concession when we came to government, and that was a big change. And then in the most recent last year, and this is still rolling out in people's energy bills today, we've done the biggest energy concession relief in the history of the state, in a very significant volume, and that's appearing in people's energy bills on a quarterly basis. That affects a very large number of people indeed, but also small businesses as well. So we doubled the cost of living concession. Then last year we did the energy concession relief, and then cost of living challenge, notwithstanding that we're starting to see signs that inflation is coming down. It's not nearly far enough. So we will be turning our minds to cost of living in this year's state budget as well.
Kayleen in Bellevue Heights, good morning.
Good morning, Premier. And right. I want to talk about the bushfire allowance. Now, this has been going on for years. The federal government allots $170 towards bushfire clearance for pensioners who live in the foothills and the hills. Now, ever since the new Lord Mayor came to the city of Mitcham, because from the federal government it goes to Mitcham Council, ever since Heather Holmes-Ross came in about 6 years ago, this money has gone in general revenue. Now, from just recently, they outsourced a number of years ago. You can ring me back on this. I've got lots of correspondence and I'm getting nowhere. Al Endor has taken over. Now, bushfire clearance starts on November the 15th. They rang me up on December the 16th, a month later, and said, we're ringing up about bushfire clearance. And I said, well, you're a month too late. And they wanted to send out Jim's mowing. Now, this is not a Jim's mowing job. This is gullies with snakes in it. And it's really steep. We're not talking about a normal backyard where they can mow the lawn and trim the bushes.
Okay.
Sorry, Kayleen, I'm going to have to take this one on notice. I'm not familiar with what the Mitcham Council has done there in respect to those allowances. Obviously, being local government, that's a bit outside of my purview. But needless to say, the issue of clearances is important. As a state government, we've been seeking to work with the department and fund all of the issues around backburning and clearing of land as best as we can. For people who are pensioners who clearly don't have the ability to do it, might not have the ability physically to do it themselves, there should be arrangements in place. And I know local councils often step up to the plate in that regard, but I might get a bit of details around what's happening in Mitcham and maybe even familiarise ourselves with your circumstances and just assess it and see if we can't help.
Thank you, Kayleen. Apologies to the newsroom. I just want to take Phil's call because he's been waiting a long time to speak to the Premier, and then we'll go to 5AA News. Phil, good morning to you.
Good morning, Premier. Yeah, I'm just regarding about medication and the actual supply throughout Australia. Is it possible for Adelaide and South Australia to build a facility and make our own tablets, medication for people and distribute throughout Australia rather than keep importing them from overseas?
So pharmaceutical manufacturing was something that we used to do in South Australia, not in significant volume, and it's something that we've been funding as well. We've provided a very substantial grant to a company called Biosina, which I think has got a fair bit of coverage with FIVEAA in the past, who are doing amazing work about producing things in that industry here in our state that we're looking to export around the rest of the country and also overseas. But in terms of so much of the pharmaceuticals that are produced, that no longer happens here, and it's all about supply and demand. As a government, we have got a range of different industry packages to allow businesses to start up. We're always looking for opportunities around that sovereign capability piece, the laptops earlier. But I want to be honest with you, mate. There isn't exactly a program that I can point to that's about to unleash a pharmaceutical industry in South Australia. But where those opportunities present themselves, we'll consider them.
All right. Thank you for all your excellent calls, folks. Really appreciate it. 8223 continues to be the number that we want you to call if you want to be part of Feedback Friday. It's coming up right after 5AA News. Your chance to win a $100 Samtas seafood voucher.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Sunny and 29 with the 8:30 news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Chipped windscreen? Complete Windscreens can repair it from just $99. Look for the big red koala.
With another tax hike looming for beer and spirits, the industry says it's now too expensive for many to drink and the government's losing out. From next month, a pint of beer will cost $15 and a litre of spirits will be around $100. Greg Holland from Spirits and Cocktails Australia says the tax has wiped out government revenues.
The figures they released in December in the budget update, they're short by about $170 million from spirits excise. So what they're trying to do is control inflation, get the coffers up. It ain't working.
Police are investigating a break-in at a small business in Forestville early this morning. Senior Constable Kate Dawson says they were called to Leah Street just after 4 after 3 people were seen forcing their way into a cafe.
The trio stole a cash drawer before leaving in a small white car. Patrols quickly arrived at the scene and searched the area, but unfortunately we've been unable to locate the suspects at this time. We're just asking anybody who saw or heard anything suspicious in the area or somebody who may have dash cam footage to contact Crime Stoppers on 1-800 333 000.
Pakistan has launched a highly coordinated military strike on Iran, killing 9 people. The attack's in retaliation to Iran's strike on Sunni militants inside Pakistan. Former CIA operative Bob Baer has told Today the attack is unprecedented.
I can't remember this ever occurred, especially a missile strike against an Iranian village. The Iranians are going to react to this, and this is what concerns me, is this escalation is continuing to go up.
It comes as the US launched more airstrikes on Houthi rebels in Yemen. A White House spokesman says the strikes destroyed missiles which were being prepared for use in the Red Sea. Prince William has visited his wife in hospital as she recovers from abdominal surgery. More from Edward Godfrey.
It's the first time he's been seen publicly since Kensington Palace revealed the Princess of Wales has undergone abdominal surgery and will remain in hospital for up to 14 days, recovering. Little is still known about her condition, but she'll be out of public duties until April, it's expected. This comes as Queen Camilla made an appearance in Aberdeen, Scotland at the opening of a charity group where she gave a brief update on King Charles's condition. He needs treatment for an enlarged prostate. She told a guard that he's doing fine and is looking forward to getting back to work.
There's been an increase in tongue cancer in younger Australians, and the experts aren't sure why. Almost 1,100 people in Australia were treated for tongue cancer in 2019, and that's predicted to reach well over 1,300 this year. Professor Michael McCulloch from the University of Melbourne says they don't know why case numbers are increasing in younger Australians.
Over 70% of
people with mouth cancer are older, and there is still a strong link with smoking and drinking. But as a decrease in smoking, though, we're noticing that the alcohol may be actually more important than the smoking has ever been.
And Winston Churchill's false teeth are going under the hammer in the UK. The former British Prime Minister's gold-plated upper dentures are expected to fetch around $10,000. Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
Drive away with a great deal at Agostino Mitsubishi Nailsworth and the brand new Agostino Mitsubishi Mawson Lakes.
Here's Tom Rennie.
Thank you, Kendall. It's been one of the latest finishes to a tennis match in Grand Slam history at the Australian Open. Jordan Tunbridge has more from Melbourne Park.
It took Daniil Medvedev until 3:39 in the morning to beat the unseeded Finnish player Emil Ruusuvuori in the Australian Open's second round. The third seed staging one of the greatest comebacks of his career, fighting back from 2 sets down to win in 5, 3-6, 6-7, 6-4, 7-6, 6-love after 4 hours and 23 minutes on court. This late finish coming despite an extra day being added to the schedule to avoid results like last year's epic between Thanasi Kokkinakis and Andy Murray, which wrapped up just after 4 a.m. In the earlier match on Rod Laver Arena, Elena Rybakina and Anna Blinkova played the longest tiebreaker in Grand Slam history, lasting 42 points in the deciding third set. Blinkova coming out on top, eliminating last year's runner-up.
Well, the Socceroos have beaten Syria 1-0 at the Asian Cup to guarantee their progression into the knockout stages of the tournament. In some cricket news, Australia is just 4 wickets away from taking a 1-0 series lead against the West Indies, with the Tourists to resume at 6 for 73, still needing a further 22 runs just to make the Aussies bat again. An Australian golf star, Minwoo Lee, is living out his dream, having teed off as a full member of the PGA Tour for the first time. Speaking ahead of his first round of the American Express tournament in California, Lee says it's what he's worked for his entire life.
It means a lot. Always wanted to do as a little kid, dreamt about it, so happy to be here now and have a full year out here. It'll be very exciting, and to live out here too would be, adventures, and yeah, very exciting too.
He's currently 3 under through 12 holes, putting him 6 shots off the pace. And that's the FIVEAA Sport.
Now on to the traffic.
Busy in a few spots for the driving this morning. The tunnels on the freeway as you're coming inbound there. South Road at Edwardstown starting to be a bit sluggish. Brighton Road, Brighton. Got the tour down under, heading through Langhorne Creek, Murray Bridge and Port Elliot this morning. Nice day for it. And a burst water main slowing things up at Oakton, Green Junction Road near Foster's Road, speeds at 25. You'll find cameras, Byards Road, Ranella East and Fraser Avenue at Happy Valley. Looking for a new bed? The Snooze Super Summer Sale is on now. Save up to 50% off mattresses and up to 40% off bed frames. Hurry, ends soon. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on FIVEAA.
Jayco Adelaide's factory sale has a van for every budget with savings up to $3,000. Hurry, ends Saturday.
Sunny and 29 today, up to 35 tomorrow. Cloud clearing on Sunday, 28, and sunny for Monday, 32. At the moment, 17. More news as it happens on FIVEAA.
Feedback Friday is back for 2024. The first is here and now. Get calling on 8223 0000. First 2 callers through can contest Feedback Friday for a $100 Samtas seafood voucher. And you know the game. 5 questions inspired by the news of the last 7 days, to which there are no wrong answers. It's just your opinions, thoughts and experiences. It's a lot of fun. And you can win yourself a heap of fish in the process. So get calling now, 8223 0000. First 2 callers through will be contesting Feedback Friday.
At Coles, there's great value hands down across fruit and veg this week. Like delicious 100% Aussie Hass avocados, just $1.50 each. Get great value hands down at Coles. Offer ends Tuesday.
I'm Kathy Nagel, the Chief Executive of Western Hospital Henley Beach. Many people don't know that they don't need health insurance to be treated in a private hospital. Many procedures are more affordable than you may think, and access to a wide range of specialists and services is just a phone call away. So if you're considering surgery, there are various payment options available, and we can arrange a personal quote. If you have questions about paying for your own procedure in a private hospital, give Western Hospital a call on 8159 1200 to discuss.
It's the final few days of the Santos Tour Down Under, the biggest cycling competition in the Southern Hemisphere. In an event like no other, the greatest names from across the world have returned down under and are racing through our state. So cheer on the world's best and join in on the unbeatable experience as the best cyclists go head-to-head for the final weekend of Australia's greatest cycling race. Witness how heroes are made on Wollonga Hill tomorrow, and then one final major climb on the slopes of Mount Lofty on Sunday. This is what the Santos Tour Down Under is all about. Santos Tour Down Under, don't miss the final weekend. Find out more at tourdownunder.com.au.
It's the final days of Solitaire Volkswagen's up to 25% off demonstrator vehicles. Over 100 demonstrator vehicles to choose from, with all Volkswagen models available for immediate delivery. Plus, receive a bonus $500 parts and accessories voucher with any Volkswagen demonstrator purchase. Receive huge savings across the entire Volkswagen range on all demonstrators, exclusive to Solitaire Volkswagen. Hurry, offer ends Saturday 5 p.m. Visit solitairevolkswagen.com.au or our showrooms at Hawthorn and Medindi. DL 65541.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Over 70 years, Meals on Wheels have delivered millions of meals. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
5AA Summer Breakfast with Will Goodings and Premier Peter Malinauskas.
17 to 9. His old office suggested rather unkindly this morning that the Meat Tray Friday subject should be, when have you felt completely out of your depth? Well, the good news is you've only got 17 minutes to go, Premier.
That's right, I've just got to get through.
You've done the heavy lifting. The Ask the Premier Anything segment's happened. The one final hurdle might be, if you'd indulge us, could you be part of Feedback Friday?
Happy to be part of Feedback Friday.
All right, well, Feedback Friday, thanks to the excellent people at Samtas Seafood, we've got a $100 Samtas Seafood voucher to give away, is back for 2024. I think we've got still one position available if you'd like to call in and play. Very simple. 5 questions to which there are no wrong answers. Get calling right now. 8223 0000 is the number.
Feedback.
Let's start with Bianca in the meantime. Bianca, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. How are you this morning?
Very well. Do you own any Lycra, Bianca?
Hell no.
Never owned Lycra.
Well, I think, I'm a lady with junk in my trunk, and sometimes Lycra is just not appropriate.
Hey.
So all your mammals out there that have got the junk in the front, just think about that when you go out the door.
The appropriateness or otherwise of Lycra doesn't seem to be the consideration of a lot of people, Bianca, but that's good on you.
No. Good on them for getting out on the bike.
No, fair enough. Hey, Bianca, do you think the Adelaide test should be a day test or a day-night test?
Day-night. So I'm a SACA member as well, and I haven't been able to go this week. So day-night, Wednesday.
Yeah, it's miserable.
Yeah, miserable.
I'm with it, Bianca.
Denmark, Bianca, now has an Australian Queen with King Frederick and Queen Mary proclaimed earlier this week. Would you like Australia to have our very own King and Queen? Beyond the Commonwealth, obviously.
No, completely agnostic. I don't think it's within Australia's DNA to celebrate such things.
You're 2 out of 2 as far as I'm concerned, Bianca.
Very strong reaction there from the Premier. The first Republican primary in Iowa was this week. Voting on the day, the temperature on the day voting was done was minus 22. Would you go out and vote on a day, Bianca, that was minus 22?
Oh, America. Do you know what? If it was to vote against someone like Trump and vote him down, absolutely.
You would? Okay, that would get you out. All right.
It would get me out to stop that happening.
What do you think, Premier, the turnout in Australia is on an election day if it was minus 22, even with compulsory voting?
It would take a hit. It would take a hit. It might be good for Treasury because that.
The fines.
The fines, yeah. But the different world, isn't it? It was extraordinary watching those scenes.
The idea that you were holding an election at the same time as the health department was saying if you're outside for more than 10 minutes, you can get frostbite.
Did you see those images of people with bottles of water getting frozen just standing there?
Yeah, that's unbelievable. Just lastly, Bianca, next Friday, Australia Day, you doing lamb barbecue?
No, vegetarian.
Oh, okay. What do you do instead on...
Sorry, what I will say is pescatarian because we're having fish, sorry.
Okay, there you go.
Pescatarian.
Yeah, pescatarian. It's like a part-time vegetarian.
It is a part-time vegetarian.
Thank you, Bianca. Let's go to Reno in Torrensville. Reno, do you own a bike?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't move. It's a still bike, if you're honest.
Oh, like
It's
an exercise bike.
That's about it.
That sort of counts. Yeah, that counts. You can get in the spirit of the Tour Down Under and the comfort of your living room.
But I don't put my Leica on when I'm doing exercise.
Look, Reno, what you do in the comfort of your own home is your business. Do you think the Adelaide test should be in December or January?
No, definitely December, in the peak holidays, day and night test.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I think that's the most popular view. The wonderful Sarah Snook, Adelaide's own, won an Emmy for a role in Succession this week. Have you ever seen the show Succession?
No, I haven't, but I will look into it because I have heard a lot of good things about it.
Yeah,
especially from you, Will. I will look into it.
Oh, I think it's a superb television program, Reno. Do yourself a favour. Sounds like the Premier's a fan as well.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah.
When did you take down your Christmas decorations, Reno?
On the 6th of January, when the Bafana hits. That's when everything comes down.
Okay. Oh,
after the 12th day of Christmas.
Well, that keeps it nice and regular for you. There's
It
no
does.
arguments in your household. And
In more regular, in more ways than one.
Thank you. And lastly, Reno, who do you think should perform at the Velo 500 after-race concert if you could pick anyone?
Well, I reckon Rowy's had 3 years of playing his bugle, and Wayne Phillips with his ukulele. I reckon a duet, Rowy and Wayne Phillips.
Be a bit cheaper.
Yeah.
A lot cheaper. We'll have a lot more money left over.
Yeah, that's one thing. Reno, thank you. All right, Premier, it's time for your Feedback Friday. We had a big debate earlier in the week on the program about gum trees, given there's been some awful cases recently with people, they've fallen on people. And one of our listeners, Diane, said, it's time for gum trees just to be cancelled. Is it time for gum trees to be cancelled?
No, you can't cancel gum trees. They're magnificent.
They're quintessentially Australian,
They are
aren't they?
magnificent.
They are.
They can't go nowhere.
Okay, not cancelled. All right, Biden or Trump?
Biden. Absolutely.
Oh, you
Even
thought about that for longer than I expected you to.
Well, no, it goes without saying. But I mean, he's getting on.
Yeah. I
Well,
guess the thought is about is the question right?
Well, that's the issue.
That's the issue. That's we don't know. All right. Speaking of elections, Treadray or Abernathy?
Oh,
I thought we'd ask you a port question, being our port.
Well, they're both
legends of the club.
Both legends. You're really putting me on the spot here. I'll get a say in this, I suppose.
Well, if there's a member, you get a vote.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Which means it should be a secret ballot.
Okay. The privacy of the ballot box.
That's right. Look, I think both have got something to contribute, but geez, you're really putting me on the spot. I'd probably go ABBA.
Okay, ABBA. My colleague at Channel 7, he'll be happy to hear that. The hit, we spoke about Succession a moment ago. The hit HBO series Succession has been described as the best TV series of the past 10 years, starring Sarah Snook, of course. What do you think the best TV series of the last 10 years is?
Last 10 years? Oh, that's a good question. Well, I'm a big fan of Succession. I did like it. I thought at the end it was like all these things, at the end it starts to...
It's tough to stick the landing.
Start to think. So there was that True Detective series.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I really liked
the first True Detective.
First one, yeah. I really enjoyed True Detective. I recommend that to anyone. Who it had Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey was in it.
Yeah.
And it's just the new series is just coming out with...
Is there another one?
Jodie Foster, I think, starring
is that right?
in it. Yeah,
well,
it's just coming out now.
The first one was a crack. I recommend it to anyone.
Hugely critically acclaimed True Detective. Peter Costello famously said once, one for mum, one for dad, and one for the country. So, Premier, who was your fourth for?
Yeah, Port Adelaide Footy Club. Fingers crossed.
What position?
Any will do.
Okay.
Any will do. But hopefully clunking a few up forward and having talent that his old man absolutely lacks.
Well, Premier, thank you for being part of Feedback Friday.
My pleasure.
We appreciate it. Who are we going to give the Premier? I think will have to exclude himself from the $100 Samtas seafood voucher. Bianca.
Yeah.
You got $100 worth of fish coming your way.
3 out of 4 for Bianca, I thought. I wasn't the vegetarian, pescatarian thing.
You were lamb on...
I'm on, lamb. But the other 3, I was with her.
Yeah, okay. But you're a lamb on Australia Day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just have to, don't you? Some things are non-negotiable.
The new ad is
brilliant. It's fantastic.
It's the best one in a few years.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
They've found the magic again. Yeah. They've rekindled it. All right, we're going to take one more break. We'll check traffic and wrap up very shortly. It's 9 to 9. Traffic, thanks to Novita Tech, can support you to live more independently. The summer sale's on now. Visit novitatech.com.au.
Thanks, Will. Busy in a few spots this morning. South Road at Karata Park. The freeway's pretty sluggish through the tunnels at the moment. And we've got a burst water main slowing things up at Oakton, Grange Junction Road near Foster's Road, speeds 25. 2 down under, heading through Langhorne Creek, Murray Bridge and Port Elliot today. Look out for detours and cyclists there. And you'll find cameras, Hub Drive, Aberfoyle Park and Ocean Boulevard at Seacliff Park. More great specials at Foodland. Peculiar Picks Mangoes, a 4-pack, only $8.90 each. That's just $2.22 a piece. Today only at Foodland, the mighty South Aussies. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. As the biggest family-owned tile company in Australia, National Tiles races to get the very latest tiles from Italy, Spain and around the world at the guaranteed lowest prices. That's what makes us number one. Here in Adelaide, we have 3 magnificent stores in Mile End, Nailsworth and Wingfield. Plus our world-class online store, National Tiles. Number one for the very latest tiles at the very best prices in Australia. Conditions apply.
Shopping should be exciting, not dull. An adventure, not a chore. And fresh, not routine. So experience something new at Newton Central with Drake's, Serenity Hair & Co, Fandy Scissorhands, Terry White Chemist, Glitter and Polish Nail Salon and many more. Including the brand new Séjour Club, an independent boutique with one-of-a-kind handcrafted apparel and jewellery from 2 local designers. Want something new in your life? Choose a new local. Choose Newton Central. Gorge Road, Newton.
What can be better than finding a new restaurant to share with friends? We'll discover a brilliant international taste experience at the all-new Tunki at Westlakes. Been myself, I love this joint. It was so good. If you love Asian food with a bit of a spin, it's what they call their Nikkei cuisine, which has got a really fascinating story. In the 20th century, Japanese migrants went to Peru looking for work and soon after began fusing Japanese flavours with local ingredients. Chef Krish Dutt invites you to share his take on Nikkei cuisine at Tunki with sizzling wood-fired grilled delights and a unique Japanese-Peruvian fusion. Tunki will set your taste buds dancing a spectacular marinera, which is a Peruvian dance. Book your table now at the all-new Tunki and be part of the sensation Tunki, where fusion meets perfection. 141 Brebner Drive, Westlakes or tunki.au.
How easily could you save hundreds off your energy bills? That easy. Switch out your gas or electric hot water system for an energy-efficient heat pump with EcoVantage. Then sit back and save up to 70% on your water heating costs. And get it supplied and installed for as little as $0, thanks to government-facilitated subsidies. Yep, new hot water system from $0 that saves you hundreds. Pump your energy bills down with ecovantage.com.au.
The Audi Summer Demonstrator Sale event is on now. Take advantage of exceptional opportunities on demonstrator models at your preferred Audi dealer. Until January 31, see website for details, T's and C's apply.
On 5AA Mornings today, more valuable farmland to be used for housing in rural SA. We'll tell you where and what the plans are. And Adelaide remembers when. Today, the anniversary of the tidal wave that never happened. We'll talk about that with Bob Byrne. I'm Matthew Pantelis. Look forward to your company from 9.
Over 70 years, Meals on Wheels have delivered millions of meals. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
5AA Summer Breakfast with Will Goodings and Premier Peter Malinauskas.
Yeah, the end of summer breakfast today. On Monday morning, David Penberthy returns to the program. He'll be in the chair that's been filled admirably well by the Premier of the State, Peter Malinauskas. You were anxious at 6 o'clock about how this was all going to transpire, but relatively painless.
Less anxious with 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, 5. You get brave with 5
I'm
minutes to go.
anxious about listening to Mexico constantly come Monday.
Oh, he may even just do the entire show in Spanish. I'm ready for anything. He probably hasn't spoken English for 5 weeks, knowing David.
Constant Mexican food recipes.
Everything will be a trigger too. There'll be there's no issue that won't be able to be segued into a conversation about Central American politics or something or other. We have a Meat Tray Friday winner that we to announce with thanks to the great people at Chanella's, Liam, Joanna and the team, my local butcher Chanella's. Head in. If if you go to any sort of party or anything and you need a platter, get Chanel's to sort you out. They do a wonderful job. 62 Prospect Road at Prospect. Sam is right now collating all the entries. And the winner is Daniel in Somerton Park. Daniel,
Well done, Daniel.
Called in a little bit earlier. He played against the Premier in football and he'd represented his country playing football as well,
Done,
which
mate.
is something very
Well
few
done.
people have.
Go the Lions.
Go the Lions.
Kenlake Gardens are the Lions.
Is that right?
He plays for Kenlake Gardens.
Played for Kenlake Gardens, and an incredible, it was a literary turn from his father, it sounds like, got him into playing at the 100th anniversary of Villas
Pretty good
Bretonneux
effort.
in a clash between Australia and France, I think,
yeah.
in football, where he was the only non-former VFL AFL player.
It's a pretty good effort.
That's
not happening twice.
No, that's never happening again. Yeah. That's a great story. Albeit, we should say, it wasn't Weasley's way in. It was because of his family's connection with with Villas Bretonneux and the battle that went on there. Great to have you in, Premier.
Thanks for having us
It's
on.
been a hell of a lot of fun. We've got a special birthday actually coming up for one of your...
Grant Stevens is turning 60 this weekend, so a shout out to our police commissioner and his beautiful family. I hope Grant gets the chance to enjoy himself.
He's a fit-looking 60, Grant.
He is doing very well for 60. He rides his bike a lot.
Yes.
He's big into it. And he came off a couple of times, and I thought surely he's going to give it a break or give it a rest. He's straight back on it.
We had a great caller in the program about the former Governor Kevin Scarce, and I always think of those two blokes the same, Grant Stevens and Kevin Scarce. They both have a way of looking at you.
Oh yeah,
there's a steel there.
I give you that. 100%.
Where I've had them in the studio, and they know when they're about to be asked something. The tone changes, and they look at you in a way that they would have looked at a young cadet.
You know what? You are absolutely right about both of them. I've never thought about that that characteristic.
They always have reminded me of each other.
Yeah,
I like them both a lot, but they both look at you like, all right, Sonny Jim.
That's right.
Yeah, I could break you, which they probably could. We're out of time. The Premier has done a wonderful job. Thank you for being in the program. Really, really appreciate you filling in.
No worries, Will.
And we'll let you get back to your day job now.
Thanks, mate.
See, I can go home.
Of it. Yeah.
I can go home. That's the beauty of it. We're going to be back Monday morning with the full complement. David Penberthy will be back. Make sure you stick around. Matthew Pantelis is coming up. Have a terrific weekend. Enjoy what's left of the cricket if you're getting along today, and we'll catch you 6 o'clock Monday morning next week.
The glass bottle is back. FIVEAA Milk Company have partnered with The Udder Way to bring you milk in a glass bottle. Look for milk refill stations in your supermarket, purchase your own glass bottle, fill it, take it home, drink it and bring it back.